like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show. And
y'all know what it is. It's the G Shit Podcast.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
all right, we got another good one for y'all. Do we need allies? There's a lot going on in the news right now between what ones would call the black and brown community. You could throw some other shades in there as well. And I think that it'd be a good time to kind of talk about is if having allies working together, whether it's minority groups, underprivileged, class, however you would want to frame it, could that be beneficial? In FBA terms, is it on code? But before we get into that, we do have an amazing panel. I love everybody introduce themselves. Starting top right, G, talk to them.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check that out wherever you get your podcast at GSHPOD. Ha.
Below him, FBA's favorite, Trey, David Walker. Talk to him.
What's good? What's good? Good to be here again. Talk about these hot topics with the homies and advocate for lineage business. Which
I dig it. Last but not least, we got the host of the To Be Fair Show himself. Some call him J Rock, some call him Johnny P. Talk to us.
What up? What up? What up? Glad to be back. Missed the boys last week. Just looking forward to another discussion. Again, you can, check the To Be Fair Show out every Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Glad to be back, fellas.
So I got two questions before we get to the actual icebreaker. Johnny, what you eat that gave you food poisoning? Bad box. My bad. That's inappropriate.
Come on,
what'd you say, Johnny?
We ain't even 3 minutes in.
Oh shit!
I heard we only need 15 seconds on YouTube. It's okay.
Caribbean food.
I'm trying to think. I think it was I don't want to shout the restaurant out because I like it, but
just say the style.
Damn, you're gonna go back. They got
the
some
ethnic.
shit must be good as hell.
Nah, it was some chicken wings, I believe.
From where?
I'm not saying the restaurant.
No, I'm saying, like, is it Chinese chicken wings?
Nah, these was regular,
like soul food.
These was regular toast. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. These was like American deli.
I had also went to McDonald's too. It might have been that. It might have been to me. I don't know.
Was it black owned the business?
Nah.
McDonald's ain't gonna give you McDonald's ain't gonna give you food poisoning. It's just gonna kill you slowly.
It might have been, right. But I don't know. But I'm back. I'm back.
That's crazy, man. Why are you defending the outside? I mean, that's what I don't know, man.
I think he said it was black.
You bit into the wing and just kept. You saw it was bleeding and kept eating, or like what? Like it was undercooked. Like why you think it was a chicken wing?
Well, because once I got done, I started. You look back and you see stuff. You like, wait a minute. I might have went too. You was like, I might have gone too fast. I might have been too hungry. And then I just think
that's fucked up, man.
I'm thinking, that deep down and the outside be crispy. But
them boys tried to get your order out in 5 minutes on that 20 wing combo. That was probably they fried it hard. It just was not in that grease long enough. I dig it.
So you going back after that?
But I don't know. I haven't pinpointed it. I'm like I said, I don't know. I don't know.
This shit must be good, bro.
It was some strawberry hots. I know what it was, but
don't do that restaurant like that. It wasn't them. Shut up.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Was it halal? I'll leave you alone, bro.
But this is another pre-icebreaker question. We were just talking about or y'all guys was talking about cars. Some people might be selling cars. Some people buying new cars. What is the best black and bougie car? I heard like Mercedes thrown out there, heard a Lexus thrown out there, heard Benz thrown out there.
I mean,
what is the black?
What's the criteria? We go in value, or we just go in pure flag?
All I'm saying is black and bougie. Take that how you want to, Johnny. Something that, as I said to one of our guys, you pull up at Whole Foods, you feel a little different.
Oh, that's that BMW X5.
You said what?
That X5. They getting out that X5 and they ain't even talking to you.
Okay, X5. What is that? I ain't a car guy.
BMW. That's the BMW
BMW.
SUV.
Okay.
Don't let it be an MX5. They ain't saying nothing to you.
Okay.
Man, I
Trey.
say if we talking bougie, then like but bourgeoisie, we talking about like wealthy, like the top. I'd say the G-Wagon.
G-Wagon.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
like
that's
not even practical like that, and it's mad expensive.
Mhm.
It's pretty much just the flex, because you're not taking. It's an off-road looking vehicle, but you're not taking it off-road.
Yeah.
I throw another one in there just for sake. The new wave for black bougies is Tesla's, low key.
oh
Mhm.
yeah.
The Tesla wave.
You saying they gonna wrap the Cybertruck red and then throw the 4G up? Yeah, that's what you saying.
And the ladies wrap it in pink. It's yeah. Black and bougie, definitely the Tesla vibe for sure.
Man, I heard some horrible shit about that, man.
We do have Howard's finest, the Charlotte legend, fresh
Mr.
from
Black and bougie right now. What he driving?
Right. He probably riding black and bougie right now. Look at him.
Yeah.
What I told you. Called it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Black, talk to us.
How y'all doing, man? What's the question? What y'all talking about?
This is the what do they call it? Side adventure right now. We was talking cars for a quick second, so I asked, what is the premier black and bougie car right now?
Yeah, I probably definitely have to go with what Trey was saying with the G-Wagon. I say like the new Range Rovers. I feel like Tesla's still like on some geek shit. Like I don't really like,
even a Cybertruck.
I mean the Cybertruck is still very, minimal. At least over here. I mean everybody got them in LA, but everybody got money out there too. But I don't even see them. I don't see them out here crazy. Like say bougie. I feel like a lot of people be saying they ugly and shit, but
Yeah.
I like the G-Wagon, still Mercedes, those top BMWs, the 700s and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Them still like the big bougie joints right now.
Oh shit. Honorable mention to the Urus, so I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, yeah, Mercedes still. I mean, that's still I feel like the top bougie car.
Okay. No, I dig it. All right. As we talk bougie, I'm gonna throw to what some people might call Target. From what I've heard in the streets, there's a boycott going on. I've heard a couple different sides of it. I've heard Tabitha Brown thinks she was out there telling people don't boycott my shit inside the stores. I done seen like the Mark Lamont Hill say, nah, we boycotting that shit. I think maybe it's over the whole DEI thing. This is a non-pre-screened, what do we call this? Meme of the week. So we're gonna kind of watch this together. But again, there's a boycott with Target, and we're gonna listen to a little bit of why they say what they're boycotting, and then we're gonna talk about do boycotts work? Do cancel culture work? Do canceling companies work?
It's rolling back their DEI initiatives, and a certain group of people are upset about it. Let's talk about it. So all I've been seeing after Target announced that they're taking away their DEI initiative, diversity, equity, and inclusion, all I see on my For You page is people saying they're not shopping at Target anymore. They're boycotting them. They're going to take their black dollars somewhere else, and all kind of nonsense about not shopping at Target anymore. Tabitha Brown did a video on First of all, taking away DEI just means that they're not going to take part in that. That does not mean that they're not going to hire diversity. It does not mean that they're not going to hire Black people. It does not mean that they don't want Black people and diverse groups shopping at their store. It means they're not going to take part in the program. They're going to hire people based on merit, based on their qualifications. So if you're qualified to be a salesperson or a manager or a stalker or whatever positions are at Target, and you have the background and the skill set, they're going to hire you. If you're whatever a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion group and you want to work there and you have the skill set, they're going to hire you. They want you there. Some guy made a video the other.
All right. So nonetheless, I think she kind of laid out a little bit of why and gave her opinion nonetheless of how she feels about it. How do y'all feel about it? Are we boycotting Target, or like we don't really care about Tabitha Brown shit?
I fuck with Tabitha Brown. I think the whole thing is selective outrage. It's hypocrisy. Everybody's raging on the same apps that all donated to Trump, whether it's Elon, whether it's Zuckerberg. You know, you wanna boycott Target because apparently you think Trump is associated with these people, but you're still on apps that donated to Trump. Zuckerberg donated, Elon donated.
Oh, they was behind him. Yeah.
They all support. So why are you not deleting your Facebook? Why are you not deleting your Instagram and your Twitter? It's like, it's just fake outrage. Like, everybody is in reactionary mode right now with no real information. And, you know, what jobs is nigga losing? Like, what jobs do white people want that black people have? Like, they don't want to work at Target.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mexicans don't want to work there. They can't speak no English. Like, so only people taking your job is the kiosk and the self checkout. Like, so it's just a bunch of fake outrage. Like you said, it doesn't mean they're about to remove black companies and stuff like that. It's just like they're not going to be forced to include them, but they still want black money and black dollars, and they still been getting black dollars because they get a cut from the black businesses. So they act like you going and buy Tabitha Brown, she getting 100% of the money. She might get 30%, if that. You know, Target's still getting the lump sum of it. You know, they selling that shit. They get wholesale. She get a chunk of it, and they get the most money. So everybody's just mad because for some reason it's this "I told you so" energy. Like, people want to be like so right and so like, oh, Trump is, look what he doing. We told you. We told you. Like, why do y'all want to see the shit burn? Because your person lost. Like, I don't understand this energy. And then it's just like a lot of misinformation. A dude admitted on TikTok he created a graphic and a meme.
Niggas wilding.
And it's just like, people want to see Trump fail. People want to feel like people that voted for him are wrong, and they're just circulating a bunch of misinformation. And they're not going to stop. They didn't stop going to Chick-fil-A when they supported the cops. They didn't stop going to Starbucks when they supported Israel and fired them people for supporting Palestine. They don't stand for shit. They just reactionary. And Asada Shakur say a reactionary people can't be revolutionary. Nobody's organizing shit. You know, Skinny Al Sharpton, he went out and took niggas to Costco, not to black businesses, to another white company to march a bunch of big black bubble lip niggas through Costco, spend their money. And it's just like, this is what the Republicans up against. Like, the Democrats are cooked. Like, they have no real answers, no real alternatives. It's just a bunch of angry people, and they more sore losers than the MAGA people. And at least the MAGA people will organize and storm the Capitol. Niggas ain't organizing. You know,
hold up.
What they organize?
No, because they're not niggas. Those aren't niggas, bro. Like, don't put that on niggas. We niggas now. Like,
no, there's black people and there's niggas. I'm not with them niggas.
I don't know those niggas is doing that though. Don't put that shit on us, bro.
Listen,
until you said niggas, bro.
Let me.
Tell me
I feel like right now.
Tell me what niggas have organized. Like, they're not organizing nothing. Niggas is just angry.
Delineation.
And sharing a bunch of shit that they're not reading.
Yeah.
Oh, he's taking away food stamps. He didn't take away food stamps. Like, why are you crying about that anyway? But still, that's fake news. It's just crazy right now. The misinformation, the fake anger, the fake outrage. Like, you can't take these niggas serious, man.
I feel like after the A Black rant, you need one of those Don DeMarco. Bam, 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 bam. he had some shit he had to get off. I ain't mad at it. Trey, it sounded like you was kind of nipping at the buzz to get in there.
A Black was cooking until he did to put this on black people, man, because I don't think that's a reflection of black people. I think there's a certain element of crash outs among us that I don't associate with them. I think the people that stand on lineage business, the people I interact with, the people I think are on the right track, they think that these people are ridiculous, and they're calling it out. The fact that DEI barely benefited black people, like it primarily benefits Caucasians, even Caucasian men, if they're in the the rainbow community. And this is why I agree with you, Abel. This is why Democrats are so ineffective, because especially when it comes to like keeping the black vote, because they're fighting for DEI, doesn't benefit black people. They're fighting for immigration, doesn't benefit black Americans. They're fighting for the rainbow community and the transformer community to be able to be in the women's sports. That doesn't benefit black people. And that's like the whole black caucus. So what do they, I mean, the black caucus is really like the UN at this point. But other thing you said is Al Sharpton, he went to Costco and tried to work with them, but not realizing that Costco, their DEI program barely benefits black people too. So what's the point in having it? We need to get rid of DEI, because what happens with DEI is other groups get the benefit and then black people get the stigma. So get rid of it. That's another good thing about getting rid of DEI, is that it's calling out that the delineation movement, where we don't want policies that don't benefit black Americans to prioritize us. If it don't prioritize us and we're the face of it, then get rid of it. That's immigration, the 14th Amendment, DEI, all that. So like I said, good riddance. And last thing, if I saw that like only 4% of government contracts go to black people, and then like something like that, that's the percentage of the people that are in charge of DEI programs, and then like 1% is black men. So I extra could care less about it. That's my rant.
Gotcha. And so as we're speaking about the I did see this. I'll push play on this and get y'all reaction.
Is here. A lot of people are looking at the black community thinking that we are the recipients and benefactors of DEI programs and affirmative action programs. And I know affirmative action is no longer, but whenever they hear the term DEI or they hear the term affirmative action, they look to the black community thinking that we are the benefactor. Now, here's some information for you. The number one recipient of DEI are white women. That is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. And others fall under that group, under the minority group, the ethnic minority. Number one recipient under that group are Latino and Hispanic Americans. Number two are Asian Americans. Number three are Native Americans. Number four, individuals with disability. Number five, veterans. Okay? And number six, the LGBTQ plus community. And guess who comes last at receiving DEI benefits? Guess who comes last?
She talked real slow, but y'all know who she said came in last. Nonetheless, I thought that was an interesting tidbit that I came across. Reactions, fellas. I throw to you, G.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what like A Black said, what Trey said, it's all on point, man. Like, I think the reactions to the boycotts are silly. It's not even like a plan. Excuse me. It's just like, let's boycott. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We boycotted some and then we'll be right back in a couple weeks. Me personally, I actually frequent Target. I never buy anything from that black section. If I'm just being honest, like, I skip right by it. I mean, you know, if they had, they got the Harry's razors, you know, I shave. If they show bevel razors, I think I might have tried it once or twice, but the Harry's more convenient. What can I say, man? Like, I'm just keep it real. I'm not going to Target to like be a revolutionary. I'm going there for convenience, to get some shit for the crib, for toiletry. So I don't know, this idea of boycotting Target to go shop at Walmart where they're in the same boat, like, you know, and like I said, we're on these platforms where everybody is, you know, kissing the ring, if you will. It just doesn't make sense. And DEI as a whole, like the facts speak for himself. And even like the DEI officers, I think a statistic I saw is like 3/4 of those officers were white women too. So it's like even the people in charge of DEI weren't necessarily looking like the people on this panel. So it's like, I think, yeah, I just think it's a over, it's like a boogeyman type of thing going on. It's just a lot of fear, but they don't really even know what they're afraid of.
Gotcha, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I agree with everybody. You know, I want to echo everybody's sentiments. Yeah, it's almost like affirmative action, the same kind of thing. Like, we know who benefits. We know, like Trey said, they get the benefits, we get the stigma. So go ahead and end it. I think the backlash is just us being stupid as always. I mean, we not gonna, you know, look into it. We not gonna do, and we very, as a, you know, collective, I think we, you know, react emotionally to a lot of things, and we just read headlines. So I definitely, and I think, you know, when you go back to it and come to boycotts, you have to be very targeted in your boycotts. You know, some of these Fortune 500 companies, even if we don't shop there, I don't think that's fucking with them. Like, you know, they bottom line. I think if we gonna boycott stuff, we have to be very intentional and, you know, deliberate with who we gonna boycott. Target ain't really messing with us anyway like that. So I think,
and I guess that this probably would, I'll throw this question out to y'all. We kind of had this conversation Sunday, I want to say, but do boycotts / cancel culture actually work? What is your thoughts?
Yeah,
I think they have the potential to work. Like, I don't think cancel culture is effective, but I do think boycotts have they can have a devastating impact, but it has to be strategic and organized. It just can't be, like you said, reactionary. Oh, fuck it, let's boycott. It's like, you boycotting is like, these boycotts are like the equivalent of a child falling out in the middle of the floor. It's like you just having a tantrum.
And what will be some examples of some contemporary boycotts that have worked? We just go in like the last 20 years or so.
Fat Joe.
You said what?
I would say cancel culture worked on Fat Joe because he started talking about Latinos created hip hop. Now he getting booed off stage, his album flopping, he getting kicked. You know what I mean? All that type of stuff.
Joe was never about to sell no records, man. We
Well,
talking about boycotting
like,
actual like industries and shit like that.
But he got kicked. Like, he was doing the BET Awards. He's not doing that no more. He was doing, like, that's something you might not really be cared about, but that was important.
No, I seen that he hosted it for like the past 2 or 3 years. He gave it to somebody.
This was after. This was after we jumped.
Yeah, it was like the week. It was like the week after he made the comments.
Yeah,
again,
so
I don't really care about like a rapper as much as like I'm speaking about like
it's not
organizations,
about
Target.
It's not about rapper, bro. It's bigger than that. But I feel you. I think you're reducing it to like.
Well, I'm saying what Fat Joe is not comparable to like a Walmart or a Target.
It's not comparable, but I think if they're trying to hijack our cultural contributions, that's important.
Right, like right now, you're trying to steer it to talk about like that. We're talking about like boycotting industries at the moment. I'm not even trying to like comment on the like if boycotting Fat Joe was like and why and if he was wrong or anything like that. That's his own conversation. I imagine we probably align on some of that. I'm speaking. What are some examples of major boycotts against industries? Any major players that have actually worked in the past 20 to 30 years?
I ain't gonna lie, it's tough to come up with something tangible in the past 20 to 30 years, but what about when the angry poor whites got mad at Bud Light and went to something else because of the Bud Light commercial? I think they felt those in their pockets, Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. And Disney too, if you think about that. Because they started doing all that kids. They started doing all that kids stuff. And I think it affected their stocks. And then even like Ron DeSantis trying to get them kicked out of Florida, so they had to go through all that legal battle. I mean, they may still be straight.
Disney's still doing the hype.
Still reigning.
Yeah. And didn't Target take an impact when they started doing a bunch of that stuff with the putting rainbow stuff in the kids section too?
I think Target ain't. Yeah, they ain't been hurt off of nothing.
They ain't been hurt.
Like it's always outrage. I don't really know if like and this is from like the NFL during the Kaepernick shit. This is like every time that I think of a time, even to me, the most together that I've seen black people might have been during the Kaepernick shit, where I could say inside of some friend groups, it was kind of frowned upon if you was watching the game on Sunday for about a year or two or whatever. But even with that shit didn't over like the long term move the needle, in my opinion.
What about when the Zionists gang up on a politician for saying something about Palestine, or when an athlete will say something about Palestine, they gang up on them? Does that count as a boycott or not?
I don't think they boycotting them. They just flexing their power. Like boycotts is usually like when like you're somebody under and you're, like
I got
trying to boycott to impact the people in power.
They don't work here because you don't get enough people on a unified front. Like, we live in a country, you got to get a permit to boycott and march down the street. Like, if you talk about boycotting, there's always a faction that's coming out saying, well, I'm not doing it, because even with the Target thing, even though it was BS, you already had people coming out like, well, I'm still going to Target and making jokes and stuff. So there's never enough unity in our country for real boycotts because there's not enough real struggle. Like, people are not really hurting for real. They get emotional, they get fake mad, but their lives don't really fully be impacted enough for them to boycott as a whole. Like, you look at other countries, when their government does stuff and how they're all affected and they all out in the streets and stuff. Here, it's like you still have the comfort and all the amenities of America. So most people are not going to give that up. Most people are not going to lose their job and risk their livelihood to stand behind something that doesn't affect them directly. Now, when it affects them directly, then they're mad. That's like we starting to see now. Like, oh, I might lose my federal job or federal freeze on my food stamp. So they're mad, but they don't really care when things don't affect them. So there hasn't been a boycott recently that's really worked. Like, you mentioned the white people and the Bud Light and them with the whole gay thing, that affected them. That they reported a market loss because of that. But it's more white people in the country to have an effect on something, on drinking beer like that. If we come to our community, we're not really.
We can hit Hennessy in the pockets now. If we band together, we could put a dent in Hennessy wallet if we really wanted to do that.
And if you tell them that Hennessy,
what good would that do?
Hennessy CEO donated to Trump too, I guarantee niggas would be coming out saying, well, I ain't gonna stop drinking Hennessy. But Hennessy CEO did donate to Trump. But they're not looking that stuff up. The same nigga that own Hennessy, that own Louis Vuitton and all of that, they're all in bed with this guy. But people are selective about what they boycott based on what they like. If they like something, they can find justification for why it's not that bad. If they already don't like something or somebody, it's easy to cancel them. It's easy to condemn them, so I don't know who's been canceled. That's a celebrity. People say, oh, y'all didn't do that to Chrisette Michele. What motion did she have? What hits has she dropped? Our community is, if you win, if you keep dropping some shit, you go be all right. Kanye back a billionaire. The baby back doing hits. Like, if R. Kelly could probably still be out here if he didn't get locked up and caught up. It's still people that cap for him.
Well, he did it once already.
He technically never really got canceled. Technically,
he got muted. I thought it was a whole campaign.
His was different, yeah, because like even after Kelly went through everything, like he still had hit records post the sex tape and everything.
I guess he could be somewhat a victim of the like cancel culture, and one of the main like flagship people, they threw his ass in jail. They had like a 3 to 4 week campaign
next week and announced the tour. It'll sell out in a week.
It would.
Think so?
I know.
What about Bill Cosby?
I would go to a Bill Cosby show. I mean, he old as fuck now, so I mean, but
I would have never went to one. Bill Cosby ain't never been
see the crowd. Come on, man.
Nah, I ain't like Bill Cosby because he was hating on niggas for sagging back in the day, man.
What about the Bill Cosby show? You didn't think that was a good show representation of black people, especially when we had all that other BS? And
the
also,
Cosby
he gave us.
Was, but what about a different representation of who he was as a person?
What about a different world? I mean, he put the show together because he wanted to have a good representation of Black people on the news. I think that was good, especially with what about a different world?
You can rock with the Cosby Show, but you don't have to rock with Cosby.
But that's
sagging
his
your pants.
creation.
What was
That's
wrong
his-
with saying sagging your pants is stupid? It's like we condemn our elders for not checking us, for not guiding us, and at the same time, when they do, they don't give them no respect. So this is an elder statesman who's been in the community.
It's a way you go about it. Deion Sanders
and
could say
that's
the
what
same
Black people
thing, and
always
it's
say.
gonna
It's like,
connect better
oh, but you
than,
got to
like,
talk to us
Cosby.
nice. You got to spoon feed
Right.
us. Like your grandma,
It's hard,
they
right?
don't spoon feed you. Your granddaddy don't spoon feed you. This is an old man. Like he's an elder, and he's trying to. He's seeing the trajectory of our culture going left. And he
Right.
called it out, and they condemned it for it. That's why we have no leaders. That's why we have no elders who respect in our community, because they take down anybody. Who's our leaders?
Nah, but see, to lead, like, you know, you're not a leader just because you got money, just because you're successful.
But
Just
he's
'cause you made a
done
good show.
impactful things to the community beyond his shows. He's had scholarships. He's giving money to HBCU, so he is a leader. And it's like he garnered enough
He
respect
did a lot.
to where
Yeah.
he deserved to be listened to. And it's
But-
like
but
our
the-
community don't like to be chastised. That's what it comes down to. They don't like to be chastised.
But
Right.
it's if it was okay, but he didn't just criticize pulling up your pants. That's like reduction. That's like reducing the type of shit he would say about the younger generation and mostly hip hop as a whole.
What did
He turned his back. He turned his back on a whole culture of hip hop. Would you agree or disagree with that?
He said it was disruptive, which it kind of is. What did he say that was wrong?
But
Name
okay,
one
so
thing he said.
but like, so you telling me Rick James music and all this, like, the crazy shit going on in the 80s, this nigga popping Quaaludes and doing shit like this, that's not destructive? Like, I don't even understand.
That's alleged. That's alleged. That's alleged.
There were plenty.
It really is.
There
He's
were
free,
plenty
bro.
articles. There were plenty of articles about Rick James music, about Prince music. Like, they got backlash too in their time, in their heyday.
But what I'm saying is like, if you a nigga that's popping pills,
That's alleged, bro. He's not in jail for none of that, bro. He's a free man because they didn't prove none of it. But here you go, always eager. Black people are always eager to pile on when other Black people are being held in the court of public opinion.
And that's why
what
we
we
have
do.
no leaders, because we got to be perfect.
Exactly.
To be a Black leader, you
oh
gotta be
Lord,
damn
here
near
we
Malcolm
go.
X.
Oh
You
my
gotta be
God,
perfect.
y'all niggas.
You can't
Bro,
be
it's alleged,
Buckman.
bro.
I'm just saying, like,
Hey, look, bro.
we look for perfection. If you're not perfect, then you can't lead. Like,
That's not true. That's not
But no,
true at all.
because none of the leaders
It's
were
not true at
perfect.
all.
But who even with Martin
Malcolm
Luther
X
King, they
was-
try
Yeah.
to
They
bring
clowning
up
him.
his
He's a
infidelity.
martyr. He's a martyr, and they clown him on his
Who, X?
birthday. Martin
What's
Luther
about
King. They
King?
bring up his infidelity. He's a martyr.
But
for
that
Black
doesn't take
Black
away from
people.
his
Leader.
contribution.
Bro,
Nobody
he
can take away
deserves
from
more
his
respect.
impact and contribution.
He deserves more respect. Like, white people, they won't let you tear down the statue of a genocidal maniac. They'll defend him. But Black people, like, you can be Bill Cosby, start all these shows that represent Black people. At the time we had all this bad representation, donate $20 million to Spelman College, donate all this money to all these activists. But if you say pull your pants up, then all of a sudden we get to sully your image and throw you out. And on top of that,
You're very reductionary.
on top of
there was
that,
a lot
bro.
more than that.
And on top of that,
he messed his image up.
Him and Oprah were so like pushed back on the next generation. Him and Oprah were so like anti hip hop and all this like urban culture hitting the mainstream and all this other things. Like,
skeletons in your closet,
bro, he doesn't have skeletons in his closet.
What?
Bro, they did not prove it. Why is he a free man? You believe all the white women, huh?
Well, no, because no, he's a free man because they said they weren't going to go back and use the stuff. There was a technical difficulty.
So they couldn't prove it, basically. So they couldn't prove it.
Because they proved.
So they couldn't prove it. That's not how it works. You're innocent until proven guilty. You're not guilty until proven innocent.
They proved it.
Unless you're Black.
They proved him.
They didn't prove him guilty, bro. If they prove him guilty, then why is he free?
See, Trey, what you would say would have a little bit more like substance.
They proved him guilty though.
They didn't prove him guilty. He's free.
He was convicted, Trey.
Off of judicial malpractice. No, you can't. They proved him guilty off of judicial malpractice.
Crazy, man.
But if they prove you guilty of off judicial malpractice, and they didn't prove anything, they had to cheat.
What you saying would mean a little more to me if there wasn't like this understanding of like black comedians and black entertainers who talked about this reputation of Cosby behind the scenes for
like 20
for
years,
decades.
30 years.
That's
Yeah.
For
gossip.
decades.
Well, prove it, bro.
It is gossip. It is gossip, right?
It's girly
Like,
gossip.
you can call it what you want, but
Prove it, bro.
it's
It's not what you can say. It's not what you. It's what you can prove. If they didn't prove this black man guilty, then I'm not gonna help them convict him in the court of public opinion just so they can still take his resources and give it to the dominant society. They play black people like fools, bro. Because at the end of the day, the biggest winner of all these situations is the dominant society that gets Diddy's catalog. They prevented Bill Cosby from buying Columbia Records and selling his image. And every time nobody gets out of Hollywood free, and they use the black base in order to use us to convict powerful black people in the court of public opinion, but they would never do that to their own people, and we fall for it every time.
No, they did that to Harvey.
No, bro, but we still watch his movies though, don't we? Nobody gets mad at you.
Movies it is, to be honest.
Lots of them, bro.
If it was black, you would
Lots
know,
of
though.
movies. Exactly.
I don't know, because I don't know all of what's the I don't know all the Singletary movies.
It's more than movies. He got shows he produced. Like
he's like he had a production house, so his hands was in a lot of stuff.
Right. But at the same time, to be fair, nobody's canceling all of Diddy's catalog that he produced.
But they did our.
We still listening to all the records that Diddy produced.
We're talking about
niggas ain't put down that Nipsey album yet.
I separated. Like I still can watch the Cosby Show. I don't have no issue.
They took it off TV after this happened. They punished black men, and then black people are okay with us being the only people getting punished because we're so off code. People who are on code don't approve of this. It's always, I think that we know white supremacy.
But why should we fight for somebody who? But okay, but this is the thing with Bill Cosby. It's like he didn't create allies. See how we tie it back to the segment here? You gotta have allies.
He contributed, bro.
You gotta have allies. He didn't create allies within his own community. He didn't create allies across generational lines. He didn't reach across the generational divide.
He didn't do anything for the black community.
Listen. All I know is he just brought up about 3 to 4 episodes we didn't have.
Yeah. I'm cooking. I'm really cooking.
Say something about bourgeoisie real quick.
Yeah, I'm really cooking. But Trey keeps trying to move the field goal post. Like
nobody close to Bill Cosby spoke out against him. Like he has plenty of allies. Felicia Rashad.
But I said he didn't reach across the generational lines. He did not reach down to the younger folks. Like none of it. Why didn't say the young black entertainers fight for him like that?
Because they're ill-informed.
As legendary as he is,
they're ill-informed like you are.
No. Because like let's even compare like him to a Diddy, for example.
There
are people that will not comment on Diddy's situation right now, no matter how. Even with the Cassie video, even with everything else, you got people who are saying, "Hey man deserves a free trial." You just look, it's not my because Diddy actually has allies. He has allies in the industry. He's got dirt on people in the industry, and he's reached across generational lines. Pun intended. Diddy like to reach down young. With Cosby, he did not create or nurture any sort of camaraderie with the younger generation of black comedians.
That's false. That's just because you're ill-informed.
So why they not fight? Why not stand up for their hero?
Because they don't care about. They don't care about how much money.
Yeah, I will say like none of the black comedians really fuck with him. They all said that he kind of tried to blackball him out there.
Yeah, who had his back, Trey?
He was not like
they'll talk about that. They'll say the stories of how like they'll be on the radio and he'll call in and tell them to never bring him back, and like he for sure did at least do those.
He tried to get niggas out of here. But yeah, we supposed to fight for Bill Cosby, even though he would attack his own people trying to come up. Like, you give a fuck about that nigga, man.
Diddy did the same thing. He blackballed people. He stopped.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that nigga either. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't be fighting for none of these niggas.
So how much money do I have to?
They're not speaking up for him because they done freaky shit too. So that's why they're not saying
exactly. That's what it's about.
Their dirt to get out. They know they're not no better than him, so they're not gonna say nothing. So they keep it cool.
Facts. Hey, but G, how much money do I have to donate to a HBCU before I can criticize the black community? 10 million, 20 million.
You can donate. You don't have to donate anything to criticize the black community. Opinions are you can do that at no cost.
But before you criticize them or say that sell him down the river because he said something that was actually true
I didn't
about black people.
like you can
It's about how
redirect
you say
because
it,
I
bro.
haven't sold him down
He
anywhere.
millions, tens of millions of dollars.
I didn't help to get him boycotted. I ain't helped to send him to jail. Like I ain't got nothing to do with Bill Cosby. That's my whole kind of point. Is like that nigga is he's not like this. Like he is a successful, arguably one of the most successful black men in entertainment. That's what he is. This nigga ain't no fucking hero. What do he do for me?
The people that put him
Albert
on,
nigga, like I was on the Platinum Fubu, but that's like it, bro.
Well, gee, tell me who was the hero? Who would you say is a black hero to you?
Muhammad Ali.
Damn, that's it.
I put him at the pinnacle. If we talking like old heads like that, like if we want to say the epitome of like who I see as like black male American heroes.
I thought you said athletics was useless though. So,
but he goes beyond athletics. That's like
he was an activist who used kind of like he's an activist who used athleticism as kind of a vehicle to reach the people. But he's more his impact is beyond athletics.
His impact is beyond his impact in the ring. Like Muhammad Ali is not Muhammad Ali just because of his boxing record.
That's facts, but I think that everyone, you would notice that nobody who Bill Cosby put on through him being a producer and being on the show and everything like that, they're not speaking out about him.
I already said we already addressed that point.
So he put a lot of people on. He donated tens of millions of dollars to the black community. He put out a great representation of black people on a syndicated TV show, but because he made some comments that were critical of the black community, now he don't deserve a fair trial.
I didn't say that.
Guilty.
But that's what I'm saying. You like to go down this road of stuff that people never said.
But you said he's guilty, and the court said he's not. So that seems he had a fair trial, but you still don't believe it, though. It's not good enough for you.
Yeah, I just reread Bill Cosby.
Look, I just gave you other reasons as to why.
So what's his quote, A Black? When you get it,
as to why I would believe Cosby was on that bullshit. I gave it's outside of just court. It's mounds of evidence. Now, if it's not enough evidence for you, that's fine. But it's like when it looked like a duck, quack like a duck, swim like a duck, it might be a geese. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna bet on duck.
But get the whole Playboy Mansion. Don't just single out Bill Cosby because he's a powerful black man. Because you know that Hugh Hefner was dead, but he wasn't dead while they were going after Bill Cosby.
I think he was. You nigga dead, man.
When did he die?
He out of here. And I don't give a fuck about Hugh Hefner neither. Like he ain't no hero. Like like these niggas ain't heroes.
But everybody at he died in 2017. I don't know when Bill Cosby was first in the news, but I don't think it was more recently than 2017 when they first made those allegations. For one, but also there were other people in the Playboy Mansion that were doing worse than Bill Cosby. But I'm sick of this game where we single out the black person who's doing the same thing everybody else does, and then they get his resources, give it to the dominant society, and the black people cheer along, like clapping like penguins while the dominant society is rubbing their hands, talking about all the money they got, and these goofy Negroes helping them get it. They would never allow black people to convict a white man in the court of public opinion so black people can get the money. Like it just don't work that way. Only niggas do that shit. Yeah, that's my least favorite part about niggas. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, fellas. I think that we have went down that wormhole. Well, maybe Abe, like, did you want to round us off with the Bill Cosby quote?
I mean, it's a long quote. He said a lot. I sent it in the chat, and
Okay.
That might be
whose quote was it?
Bill's what he said that kind of made people mad at him. I kind of reread it, and in hindsight, I didn't really see nothing. I mean, everything.
Yeah, I see the video. The video like 3-4 minutes, or this look like it's 6 minutes. Yeah,
everything he said pretty much came true, but that's kind of that's another topic. We can
shout out to the Boondocks.
He said we can't read, we can't write. We're laughing and giggling. They're going nowhere. Oh shit, that's not that good.
Yeah, he Vivek Ramaswamy.
Speaking. Well, no, we ain't gonna get to Vivek yet.
He said stop beating women. G, you got a problem with that?
You do.
No, I don't. Well,
shit! Yeah, wait.
I know you do.
Yeah, if he putting that on black people,
I know that's your man's. I get it now. You want that nigga to be free, right? That is your hero, right?
He's because he said stop beating women. I'm against beating women.
You think black men beat women, Trey?
Yeah,
Nah,
he's
That's it.
putting that color
He's
purple
putting that
stigma on
stereotype
it.
on us. Now you got no issue with him saying that black men are violent, but yet you don't like the color purple.
well,
You
I
got
think
you
when
got to hear
you,
his quote in full context though. These
you know,
one-liners.
I mean, bro, you think you got you, but I still stand on if you're also actively contributing to the black community, then I think that gives you a
Because you
little
cut
more
it,
grace.
so your idea is
But Trey,
because you cut a check, you
can I
get to
ask you?
just
Can
do
I
what the
ask you
fuck you
this?
want to.
He
You the
didn't
king
just.
of the
AG,
you the king of the
That's not
community because you cut a check.
that's not
Trey,
all he did. He also showcased a black excellence
Trey,
for decades
Trey. Let me ask you this, Trey.
on
Wh-
primetime TV. What's
Trey,
up?
where do you think Bill Cosby lost us at though? Why do you think everybody turned their back? What do you think he did to make us turn us back? Do you think it's because some of the allegations were true? Because the him getting acquitted didn't have anything to do with the validity of the accusations. Like I think he admitted to doing some of the stuff. They just weren't supposed to use that evidence in the new trial. But he
Self-hate.
even himself came out and admitted to doing a lot of this stuff and said it
Self-hate
was
makes them
wrong. So
turn
like,
back.
where do you think he lost us? Because I know he did a lot. I ain't trying to take away the Cosby, but there was some point where, but even whether it was that speech or something, where the younger generations turned it back.
Man,
Kind of, and Trey, you talk shit
you
about the
saying
elders
so
a lot
much.
on here, and
You
so there
saying
has
so
to be
much.
some place where
He
Uh,
he lost us.
defending the old heads now.
You're saying so much, bro. Like there's so much to debunk, man. First off, you said that he's an old head. He's a great example of an old head because he contributed and showcased black people in a good light. He was trying to buy Columbia to, and then what are Columbia Records? I'm getting confused. Somebody else. He was trying to buy
NBC,
NBC, yeah.
yeah.
And then if he did more stuff like the Bill Cosby Show, that would the dominant society would have hated that, and they needed black people to pile on to Bill Cosby to make that happen. You said, where did he lose us? I think he lost us because there's a jealous, hater, crabs in the barrel energy that we have in the black community, where when a black person's doing things that like make them look successful, we like to knock them down a peg or criticize them for being successful. I think Bill Cosby was a victim of that, and the dominant society preyed on this inappropriate behavior from us in order to get the money and laugh while they do the same thing Bill Cosby did, but they keep an eye on the bigger picture because racism is a team sport,
But
but
I'm
black
saying, but
people
there's
don't play
other
as a
people.
team.
There's other people that we didn't like. There's Farrakhan's. There's like you say, the Diddy example. There are people that we didn't turn our back on. What
I don't
was it
think you have
about?
to be.
What was it about Cosby that made the majority of black people be like, "Yeah, we don't really rock with him like that"? It had to
Uh,
be something.
no, it's
That's
just
what I'm
because
saying.
niggas is
So
haters,
so
bro.
you're okay with Bill Cosby talking down to black men, saying that too many are beating their wives and their children are running around not knowing how to read and write. You agree with those sentiments,
I
Mr.
think
David Walker?
if you're also showcasing black people in a good light on primetime TV and going out of your way to go against that narrative.
But
You're saying black.
this is you're not doing that anymore. This is like you did that at one point, but now you're not doing that.
I don't know when the quote was.
This was
I
in
know it's an old quote.
2004.
Wait, it was years after the
This
Cosby
is like
Show.
2004. He's talking to black men like this. You think that's
Like I
okay?
said, bro, I think if
Can,
you're
can
actively
can I
going out of
speak
your way
on
to
that?
show black people in a dignified fashion, then I think you can criticize black people if you're also trying to help.
Okay. I just keep that same
I think
criteria.
the context of his quote was based in like we have to be accountable for the damage that we do for ourselves as well. So yeah, every
Mhm.
black man is not beating their wife. Every black kid can't read, but if he's coming from Philly, where a lot of that is going on, where a lot of education is in lack, where the reading deficiency is heavy, he's calling it out in our own community. It's like saying that we can't keep blaming the power structure at the same time damaging ourselves. Let's be accountable for what we're doing to ourselves before we go at them. And all right, could he say it any smoother? I don't know. It's like this Kevin Samuels effect. It's like people get the truth, but they want the message to be sweet. It's like, don't yell at me, don't talk to me. That's
Right.
how black people are. And why they turn their back on them, up to Johnny's point, why they turn it back on anybody? Because a lot of black people's mouth water at the thought of somebody falling. They love the
Yeah.
upcoming and somebody rising, but they did turn their back on Diddy. It is jokes on him. It is no Diddy. It is like his whole legacy is tarnished, and it's a joke to majority of black people. Like, who have we stood with? Like, we disrespect everybody, whether it's Will Smith, whether it's Oprah, whether whoever gets to a level of success. It's almost like there's no point of being great here because you're going to get tore down. You can be Kanye, you can be Jay-Z with an accusation, and niggas was biting at the tips to take Jay-Z down a couple of months ago.
Bro,
It's like
you can be Jesus
Beyonce.
Christ
It don't
himself,
matter
man.
who you are. Niggas are trying to tear you down because they love to see a fat bitch can't get in the lift, or a Cardi B, or Sexy Red. They love to support that. But when somebody reaches the pinnacle of success, I'm just saying, people support ignorance because it's like they support ignorance and like low-hanging fruit because it's not nothing that I can attain. But when somebody reaches an unattainable level, it's like, all right, we need to bring them down. Or they do something wrong or exposed. We told you they wasn't that great. We told you they wasn't that excellent. We told you they wasn't that perfect. There's something in our community, and it's rooted in self-hate, where we love to tear each other down. And it's not all of us. It might not be all of us on the panel, but as a community, we see it every day. Who do we respect? There's literally not a black person. I mean, you might get
Beyonce,
Farrakhan, somebody mentioned, but even a lot of people don't fuck with Farrakhan. You know, Umar, he ain't hurt nobody, but you know, he's become somewhat of a funny, a joke, a meme, and things like that as well. There's nobody that black people as a whole really respect, and they uplift the most negative versions of us, you know, like until they're big, and then they hate them too.
You think black people disrespect Farrakhan as a whole?
I don't think they disrespect him. I don't think that he has the huge following behind him that we think. I think people will post a clip or something and say, okay, that's real, but like he don't have like heavy emotion like he used to, like the nation had in 1995 doing the Million Man March. Like it's not that, and he's not doing anything that, you know, exposes him or nothing, you know. Because
let me ask this question, and y'all might can answer it with the like real answers. So as you're speaking about this, and you're speaking about like self-hate culture, and black people having like a version of a self-hate culture, and I started thinking, damn. So are there white people that contemporary, like today, because we're only using contemporary examples, that white people hold up and don't criticize? And it got me thinking that this is almost like a version of everything that you're describing. I look at as American culture and not just specifically black people, because the country's so divided. To me, it's hard to think of who are the white heroes that aren't really divided. And maybe y'all can you know, school me on it, but from the political sphere to the social sphere, usually like there's no real heroes that I can think of that are just held up to a standard, especially inside like if we're talking about like the media, commentary, music sphere of shit. Not even Taylor Swift. They like half the country don't fuck with Taylor Swift. Yeah, I'll toss that to y'all.
So-called founding fathers, who
again, as I just said, contemporary people, because that's who we're talking about right now. Contemporary black figures.
Even founding fathers, there's a lot of people who would argue that are white that the founding fathers are a disgrace.
I don't think but I still want to silo it back into like staying direct to what we're talking about, because we're talking about current day black people self-hate on each other and people that, you know, do better, or, you know what I mean, like there's like an envious spirit. And all I'm asking, is that a black thing, or is that just like an American populist thing in general? That's why I'm asking for contemporary examples of just people that are elevated of other cultures. To me, I just think that we have an American hate culture.
Even like a person like Trump, the people that I see that hate him the most are white people.
Yeah,
the ones that's like dragging him and like at work, like, oh, I can't stand Trump, and like getting in their feelings.
And like Trump's an easy target.
He got elected president and got some of the most votes that any president's ever gotten.
But so there's also a lot of white people.
But they don't hold him up. Like, but there's half the country like hates him.
But they elected him. He's a terrible person. And there's one people that come to me and like have like.
It's like saying, do you think that the country loved Biden?
People hate Trump.
But
Like
Biden, I think that was against Trump. Most people didn't care about Trump. They were voting against Biden.
that goes back and proves the point that I was making that you was just talking about. Either way,
But people voting
but
against.
but if you're saying that a lot of people, almost half the country, hates Biden, and Biden also had quote unquote the most votes ever inside a presidential election.
I know you're not comparing them to, bro. Trump is
all I'm saying is that if we're talking. No, what I'm saying is that if you're using the metric that he's a president and he got elected with the most votes, by that metric, even though we know the country, at least half the country did not fuck with Biden, I think that it's a bad metric to say, well, half the country voted for Trump until they fuck with him.
And also, too, like if you look at the total votes from the last election, like
it's really close.
Kamala had over, like, she still had a whole bunch of votes too. But there's clearly a bunch of people that don't fuck with her. So it's like it's
kind of very similar. I think the popular vote was like a difference of it was like 3 million, right? It wasn't a big margin at all.
Yeah.
So would you agree that the ceiling as far as Trump's ceiling as far as popularity is much higher than Biden's and Kamala's ever was, as far as like people who are just love Trump? Do you think there's people that just love Kamala?
I think he has more diehard fans, but that still has nothing to do with the statement. I'm asking, like, who are the people, because he still does have half of the country that hates him. Like that's like whatever million.
But who are the consensus white greats? Who are the consensus white greats where they don't got no hate?
Right now, in today's time,
even if it's not,
my nigga said Jerry Seinfeld, which is hilarious. But
bro, even if it's
everybody loves Jerry, Raymond, everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, but yeah, who would y'all say? And that's I'm only asking that because y'all might have a great example. But if we're speaking about like how black people hate each other, to me, I think that we as Americans just hate famous people, hate people in the media.
It's not
successful people.
I don't see white people tearing down the same.
Thank you.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Them niggas just shot one of the richest, like, what is it, the banker, the Luigi dude. Like
a white dude tried to shoot Trump.
Bro, what you're missing the point. What I'm trying to get.
Brett Favre,
I agree all that.
Feel good.
What I'm saying is what they won't do is allow black people to cancel them and take all their money.
We can't do that.
But they wouldn't allow us.
But we can't though. It's like that's not even fair, because if we were in fucking power, what could they do? Like if you flip the script and it's our country and we get to fucking impose our will on these other races, like what could they do in like flip the script? Like we not in the same position to do what, like we don't own institutions, we don't control the budgets. Like, come on now, that's just not even comparable. Like,
so white people don't get on code and defend their own, is what you're saying? Better than black people do? It's an American thing. White people are just as off code as black people when it comes to defending their own people. Is that an argument you're making?
White people aren't all together on the same ship.
They are just as off code as us.
They not like.
Well, like most of the infighting in the country, like Republicans versus Democrats, is a white versus white issue.
They had a civil war.
Like certain types of whites.
Like the whole civil war was over black. Like how they like kind of mess with black people and what they.
Bro, they're arguing about who gets to hold the whip. They're not arguing over like at the end of the day is good cop, bad cop, white supremacy. Neither one of them is like would gang up. They wouldn't join together to support you as a black person or to tear a white person down because they're harming black people.
But you're talking about something different. You posed it at
right. Exactly.
Both. It's not an exactly. If you said they don't fight against each other, but now you're like moving it to like. Do they like
white folks are Game of Thrones, bro? Like,
like they fight all the time.
These niggas they inbreed, they fight. These niggas are ruthless.
Because the only thing that holds them together from fighting each other is being able to have a common enemy, which is us. If we weren't in the picture, you're right, they would be tearing each other apart. No. But when it comes down to like the slave owner who was getting rich off black people and the slave catcher who was running us down, both hated black people. But they didn't like each other, but they both agreed on hating black people. Versus the people on the plantation, there was some I love masters. They would snitch on black people trying to get away. Like
that's where I disagree. This is where I think that they were engineered to hate black people. Like that's the thing that's how America created a caste system where like the wealthy elites at the time would feed these poor white people crumbs to do their bidding to give them a little something to make them feel special. And they felt special from doing that. Like, it's not like they had a meeting at the table and was like, hey, poor white man, you know what? We need to work together. Like, nah, these niggas are not on the same team.
No, that's true. The people at the top, the planter class, put black people at the bottom and put those poor white people above them to give them a reason to buy into white supremacy. You're right. It was engineered. With us, we never had that benefit of having like an engineered system for us to be able to be on code with each other versus white people. The dominant society white supremacy is very organized from the top. And then the people in the middle, the lower class white people, are just pawns who are manipulated to be on code. We don't have that type of structure over here. It's just kind of free for all.
I don't know if they are manipulated to be on code, because a lot of those poor niggas will be like the white Nazis, the white nationalists, like the extreme. If you an extremist, you probably came from like poor white environment.
Okay, so some of them are engineered, some of them are just naturally on code.
But I don't think that's the powerful elite's code is the poor white's code. I just don't think they share the same code. Personally.
But if you said they're Nazis, that means they're anti-black, right?
That means they're anti a lot of things.
But they're also anti-black, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if the rich people who are using black people and exploiting us, they're also anti-black, right?
They're anti a lot of things too, yeah.
But they're also anti-black.
Yeah.
There's a cohesion there. Are you gonna shake your head? You just say.
All right, fellas. So nonetheless, I think that this would be a great time to end this part of the conversation. Where we at? 101. All right, so we could probably roll this into the actual allies thing. But we did have another icebreaker. Who knew that we was going to spend 30 minutes on Bill Cosby today? Who knew? But the birthright citizenship, 14th Amendment, or piece of the 14th Amendment, and kind of a bunch of things that's happening with it. There's a few different angles to it, but I guess starting off, are y'all for, against the general notion of what is the current day birthright citizenship issue? This can kind of almost segue itself into ICE showing up at these elementaries and middle schools, and the teachers is kind of like taking a stand. We'll walk our way into allyship, and if these things make sense or not. But yeah, what is your thoughts? Birthright citizenship. Are you for it, against it? G, talk to us.
I think it's hilarious with the I think it was in Florida, this Latino voted for Trump and his wife got deported. I think that is hilarious. Like I just find that like to be comical that this nigga voted really and his wife is out of here. And I mean they've been married for like 7 years too. That'd be like that's wild. But when it comes to birthright citizenship, man, this is one of those things where it's like it does sound very weird, but it's like I think birthright citizenship to some degree is like it's like almost like the tax that the country has to pay for it's like how it came to be, if you will. Like because
so it's as American as American pie, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Because what the fuck is an American, right? Like, it's like Americans can be German, they can be Irish, they can be Italian, they can be Indian, they can be Chinese, they can be all types of shit. And so it's like this idea that this country wasn't founded on this basis of like people arriving from outside of these, outside of this land ultimately to come here and make it what it is today. I think the birthright citizenship is just like a part of doing business in America. It's like, because without it's so many immigrants that came over, then how do you then, if when they have babies, what happens with those babies without birthright citizenship? Like what does that mean for the economy? What do they owe, et cetera, et cetera? So I just feel like when you're a country built where the bulk of your population is built off of people who aren't from here indigenously or whatever the case, or didn't trek here from like some old like on foot type shit where you herded your people from one piece of land to another, like everybody came here basically off of a boat. And so if that's the case, you kind of have to have a rule like this, because without it, the offspring of in future generations, like who would they have ties to? Would they just be Germans living abroad? Would they just be English people living abroad? Like it just becomes kind of weird at that point, in my opinion.
Got it. Johnny, talk to us.
What's the question?
Birthright citizenship. You for it, against it?
Nah, I mean, I'm kind of on the middle with it.
Middle ground Johnny is back.
I do think it is something that can be exploited, and so if I have to lean one way, I'm gonna go against it, because it is like you see a lot of people that take advantage of the system. They bring the woman over, they get pregnant, they had a baby, and it's too easily exploited. And this is too valuable of a country. We didn't work too hard to just have that easy of a loophole to have people just come in and suck it out. So I'm leaning against it, but I'd have to do a little more research though.
A Black.
Most countries I go to, I gotta get a visa. So it's like, get your shit in order. You know your status. You know if you illegal or not. You know them people coming, and it ain't new. They've been coming during Biden. They was coming during Obama. They've been coming. It's just everything is magnified right now, and now niggas is running from ICE. But you know you gotta get your shit in order. Marry somebody, do something, but no country can allow people to just flood it illegally. You know, it's not cool. Like if you got a nation, if you run a nation, and niggas can just cross the border, like it's a security issue, it's a because of housing issue, because of the employment and the schooling issue, cultural clashes and stuff. So it's like, if you see this dude coming and you're in fear of what he's going to do with immigration, the nigga has been talking about building walls and shit since his last term, get your shit in order. It's like that's all it comes down to.
Let me ask this.
I just found something really interesting, and I'm gonna throw to you, G. Let me see if I can share this. This is European countries that practice birthright citizenship. Let me try and share this with y'all real quick. And one, I thought that this was interesting, just kind of like this map, in which, like, you see America and
all the new world,
most of South America. You got Chad,
West.
and you have Tanzania, and there's a small spot right here. I can't see what it is, but these are also ones in which like they're inclusive, which is Portugal. So these are conditionals. This, I think the red is double, like you get automatic double. Spain, France, United Kingdom, they're calling it just solely. It says the same thing up here. So I'm guessing that translates to birthright citizenship.
These are the countries that people are trying to move to. Like nobody's trying to move to these other places, so they don't have
Greece.
to establish these precedents.
Yeah, I know I was uninformed on if it was just America that had a birthright citizenship, but I guess that is interesting that like United Kingdom, Greece, and what was that? Spain, France. They either do dual citizenship or a conditional version of birthright. It's interesting.
Yeah, I got a couple things I want to throw out there. One, like the birthright citizenship, they don't necessarily have to be an illegal immigrant for that to apply. They have a green card, be here legally, have a baby, and then the birthright citizenship would apply. So I don't want us to think that this is only something that applies to people who are coming over here illegally trying to have babies, because that's not necessarily the case. The other piece to this is like, okay, two last points here. One is like, people talk about this being, it was supposed to not be for foreigners. It was supposed to be for slaves or black people at the time. My sort of pushback to that would be, in the Constitution, this would be like the same as white people arguing that the Constitution wasn't written for black people. It was written for white people. It wasn't for black people to have free speech. It was for white people to have free speech. But the way that it's written doesn't say white people. It says all men, all such and such. When it comes to this amendment, the amendment doesn't say all black people. It says all persons born and naturalized in the United States. So when you just, excuse me?
What was the context? Like, when did this? It was.
This is the 14th Amendment. I'm saying
it came out by the radical Republicans, which were.
I'm talking about the 14th Amendment that everybody's talking about, where that established birthright citizenship. I'm just talking about how that's written in the Constitution.
But when was it? What's the context? Because Trump even said that it was.
The context is the Constitution. Is the context.
But what was the time frame? Like, when was it?
1860 something, when the 14th Amendment was created. Like, whenever the amendment was created,
around the Civil War, right?
Well, listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
The way that it's written,
context
but I'm not taking anything out of context. You got to listen. If you want to use the argument that this law was made for black people, then to me, it's not a fair argument, because white people could make that same argument about the other laws in the Constitution. They weren't made, all men weren't created equal. Like, all men don't have freedom of speech and all these other things in the Bill of Rights and all this other shit. Like, that's not something that applied to all people. That was specifically for white men. It wasn't even for white people. It was for white men. So but over time, what ended up happening was, it's like, the Constitution is not written so that only a certain group of people. It's written in a way where it says all people or all persons or whatever the case. When this 14th Amendment was written, the words in it says all persons. It doesn't say all slaves, all African slaves or black slaves or Negro slaves. It doesn't there's nothing in the writing that makes it specific to black people, is my point.
So you think the intent, what do you think? What about the intent?
No, but see, I'm not talking about the intent. I'm talking about what's written in the law.
I understand what's written in the law. I understand that. Now let's talk about the intent.
And I said that the intent is, it doesn't matter, the intent, because
the intent doesn't matter.
The intent for America was for us to never be free. So do you want to?
And that's why we had and that's how the law was interpreted, because based on the intent.
No, but we're free now.
But then the 14th Amendment, the intent. Do you think the intent of the 14th Amendment was to make a pathway for anchor babies? And chain immigration.
The intent of laws,
but like, possibly if you like put in Europe and everything that happened in Ellis Island,
for European immigrants' children as well. It wasn't just for the babies of slaves. This is my point. It wasn't just for the black population. It was for other white Europeans who were here having babies.
So then, why did they have to have a separate amendment later for Native Americans who were on the soil that weren't included in the 14th Amendment?
I can't tell you that, brother.
I mean, that's a question that begs to be answered,
because it doesn't matter to the point that I'm making. The point that let me be very clear on the point I'm making. It's what's written in the Constitution. You're talking about intent, which is like judgment and guessing. Like, I'm not here to guess about what the founders intended. I'm reading the law.
The laws.
No. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about law. There is no judgment. It's what's written. Laws are written for a reason.
That's actually not true.
No, it's very true, brother. Have you ever been on a jury? Have you ever sit on a jury? Because you can't go to a jury and be like, no, I feel like this law should be something different, so I'm gonna say not guilty. Like, the law is written.
That's not. But the law is written. But I think legal intent is the mental state of a person when they. That's a different topic.
This is what I'm telling you, bro. The laws are written. Like, no. But see, my point. But let me just make my point. Let me make my point. The law is written.
Got you, bro. Y'all.
But bro, the law is written. I'm trying to make a very just succinct point, but you keep interrupting to make a point that doesn't have to do with what I'm saying.
This is crazy. This is so wild.
The 14th Amendment of the Constitution says all persons. It's just that simple.
So the purpose of the Supreme Court is judge the intent of a law.
So, all right. So, is that your basis, Supreme Court? Because there was another case where a Chinese immigrant who was born in America, left America, went to China, tried to re-enter, but America had enacted some act that forced all Chinese people to not be allowed in the country. This went all the way to the Supreme Court, which is the thing that overruled to say that this Chinese person, the Supreme Court set a precedent to say that if you're born here, even from a country like China, birthright citizenship applies to you according to the Supreme Court. The same thing you're referencing here. So it's like the intent, I don't know, but the letter of the law and how it's been interpreted is there's a clear path of evidence.
Actually, the purpose of the Supreme Court is to interpret the law, right?
Well, I'm telling you, they made a determination. They made a determination.
So, and they have the liberty, they have the liberty to reinterpret things as well, right?
That legal precedents don't necessarily work that way. That's the law. That's why that's why in law you had to study the history, because that's how you make your case.
So if the purpose of the Supreme Court is to interpret the law and you bring something to them to interpret it, then that means they have the liberty to reinterpret it.
They can,
based on
what we can do is try to amend the Constitution. And I don't know the whole. No, that's executive.
Not what we can't do that. But I'm talking about the purpose of the Supreme Court right now. If their job, their sole purpose is to interpret the law, right, and make a ruling.
Like how they overturn Roe versus Wade is what you're saying? Like, is that an example? Like overturning Roe versus Wade? Is that what you're getting at?
I can give you an example I'm more familiar with. I'm not really sure the ins and outs. I have to think about that for a minute as far as Roe versus Wade. But I do know that they reinterpreted with the 14th Amendment was not the 14th Amendment. They reinterpreted, that was an amendment. So the Supreme Court, their purpose is to interpret the law. So they have the liberty to apply their interpretation to what's the amendment is, because that, again, that's literally their purpose. So if they want to go back and look at the intent of the original purpose when the law was first created, and they look at it and they say it happened during the Civil War, the original purpose of the people that wrote this, a lot of whom were black and freed slave, they had to figure out how to deal with the black Americans who had been freed, and that's why they came up with this amendment.
Do you know what else happened around the time of the Civil War?
But am I wrong with what I'm saying though?
But you're making a point that doesn't. You say you want to consider the context. It's not about being right or wrong, because there were also a huge wave of immigrants that came over around the time of the Civil War where this amendment applied to them too. It wasn't. Again, my point is very simple. If it was specific to black people, then it should say this law is for black people. But that's not what was written. It's for all persons. And so and it's a consequence. Look, it's a loophole in the law. Like niggas find loopholes in tax laws and don't pay taxes. Niggas find a loophole in the birth citizenship and they can have a baby and be a citizen.
But it just so happened to happen after the Civil War, and they had to figure out these people who are now citizens. They had to figure out how to deal with them. It's just a coincidence there. But I spent all my time responding to G, man. Can I just get? I have a couple quick notes I want to do that to respond to the question. Man, all right, so I think nobody, you said who's American or whatever. I think nobody's more American than a foundational black American, because we didn't bring any culture here. Our culture was created here. Our culture is what America is known for, along with our inventions. And I think the wealth of America was derived solely due to our free labor. Like all the industries came from it. I think the wealth of all the slaves in America, I forget the exact number, but it was America's biggest industry, our free labor. So I think if you're in favor of birthright citizen as a foundational black American, you're either a sellout or you're misinformed, because America isn't about immigration. It's about freeloading off the exploitation of our free labor and innovation. So birthright citizen is just another example of that, where we fought in the Civil War. They had to figure out what to do with us. So they came up with the 14th Amendment, and then other people off of our fight, they came and benefited the same way they do with civil rights, same way they do with DEI. So another purpose of immigration is to have cheap labor, suppress wages, and also increase the numbers of the dominant society to help with their poor birth rate. That's my take.
All right. All right, so I was waiting to see if there's going to be any commentary, but it doesn't seem like we have any back and forth. So with that, we can kind of continue to move on. Allyship. Do we need allies as Black people? Again, we kind of got stuck on the 14th Amendment, and we kind of got microscopic with like a perspective in which we kind of drilled down. But I'll ask this first question just to start getting into the general topic. Should you be allies if you have a common enemy? This is like broad, like this is in the scope of whether we talk about race, religion, nationality, culture, XYZ, but just like generally speaking, in theory, should you be allies if you have a common enemy?
I think in the game of war, that's a very strategic play. Just the art of war, that's a very strategic play. I mean, if you look at history, it's worked out. There's been some bad alliances, historically, where you can say people. The question was in general, Trey. We can get to.
So the question. The question's in general. Oh, my bad. The question's in general. It's not about should we have allies. I thought you meant should Black Americans have allies. It's about should people have allies in general.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. I misunderstood the whole concept of the show.
Not yet. Yeah, we getting there.
I got you.
We cooking. Yeah, but
you ain't listening. None of the question how I outlined it at all.
You said, "Do we need allies, bro?" When you said
talk
we,
about what I want to talk.
You said we.
I clearly outlined the question and then said what we wasn't talking about. But I got you.
But the art of war, allies are important. Especially, like you say, with the common enemy, it definitely helps to have numbers on your side. So yeah, that's my answer.
G, talk to
us. What was it again?
Just again, generally speaking, this is not bringing in culture, race, creed, nationality, anything like that.
Right.
Just theoretically speaking.
Yeah, like I remember the question. I remember, like Johnny said, art of war. It's like, that's an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think if you have a common enemy, then that is enough to have at least a conversation at the table. Like, we should at least be able to have a conversation here about what this could look like if we have a common enemy, how that could benefit the two of us, and see what we can come to terms. But yeah, and ultimately, yeah, I just think as a whole, like, you need, everyone needs allies. You know what I'm saying? That's just a part of how everything works. You can't just be isolated doing stuff alone.
Okay. Trey, talk to us.
I think any partnership where you can't punish anyone for violating that partnership is useless.
Okay, so like in general, even if you have common enemies, you don't believe that
if I can't allies. If I can't punish you for betraying me, then why would I share my battle plans with you?
What does punish somebody for betraying you look like? Like,
you probably go to war with them, right?
Not even go to war with them. Like, if that, you always see, I was reading this book it's called Avoid the Machines. And in order for people to be on board with the resistance, they made them do a not a drill, but you know what I'm saying? They had to do something to where if they broke the agreement, they could get implicated and hemmed up. So that's an alliance where I think it's cool, but somebody has to be able to have if there's no collateral, then there's no point. I think there has to be
what about historic? What about historic? But
wouldn't a common enemy be the collateral? Like, if y'all don't win, is mutually ensured destruction.
I mean, we see this all the time. Like, We fight for Black people are the face of a lot of these arguments. Like we fought for affirmative action, we fought for DEI. Other people get to use it, and was that a good partnership? We get the crumbs while they get the brunt share of it, while all the blood comes from us.
Well,
I think that was I don't think that was a good idea.
We'll eventually kind of evolve into that, in which I think we probably can like have a nuanced conversation about that. But I guess like right now we're just speaking just generally. But I guess I'll try and toss it and move the conversation forward a little bit. In which again, before we get into race, creed, color, and nationality, I think that we have two examples in which allyship has been pushed as, like a way of fighting the power. This was seen inside like the 1960s, 70s, when you start talking about the Poor People's March. You start talking about MLK and what that was meaning to try and bring together when it comes down to a conglomerate of allies and fighting the power. You look at the Rainbow Coalition with Fred Hampton, very similar, where the idea was bringing about people of different classes and, fighting the power structure in general. Just asking your thoughts on this, and maybe it throws into the idea of like, the commonalities of class and fighting the power structure, and the possibility or the want or the need of allyship within that, or if y'all just think that they was just on bullshit.
Bullshit.
Okay, MLK, Fred Hampton on bullshit.
No, that's not what I'm. I mean, no, what? No, hell no, bro. I'm not gonna.
Well, I said the Poor People March. I said the Poor People March and the Rainbow Coalition.
Yeah, the allyship, like as far as those having allies, they didn't contribute anything. So yeah, that was bullshit. But was MLK's goal and all the other shit bullshit? No, I don't want you to frame it as in MLK and Fred Hampton.
Oh my bad. The MLK's Poor People March was bullshit.
I think the allyship was bullshit. Yeah, but I do think MLK's initiative. I think MLK's initiative. I think he was right to give it a try. So I don't want to make it, because it's almost like you're framing it like.
But that means there's value in
speaking out against.
That means there's value in allies.
What did they gain? What did we gain from the allies?
Well, he died before they could do it. I don't know.
But what did we?
He didn't like finish. He didn't. Neither one of them finished through their plan because they got
what
killed.
Have we ever gained?
Because we would have been stronger with the allies.
But what have we ever gained? Who killed them?
The white boy.
The people that were scared of him, like joining with the allies.
Why didn't the allies stop their other fellow white people? Like, what do we gain? What is the ally?
Well, I don't think the Poor People March just like ended. I think that there's a. But go ahead.
What has the ally ever done for us?
All right. I guess that like you're moving it to like a different question, and we'll continue. But I imagine like people will probably like point to like even as early as slavery that
how you gonna get reparations without an ally?
Hey Trey, there was Jewish people that died at the Civil Rights March with Martin.
There were also Jewish people that had us in bondage, and Jewish people.
But was the Underground Railroad like allies?
I mean, the Underground Railroad. There were a lot of people. There were people here and there that.
But there were some allies though, right?
But there were also a lot of free people on that. Yeah, there were some people that did some. There were a few.
Boy,
how would Black people get reparations without an ally?
Damn it, G, we about to be 30 minutes now.
I mean, because it's just that simple. It's like how do we get if Black people don't have an ally in, say, the American government? How are we gonna get allies? I mean, get reparations.
We appeal to mutual interest.
So you're saying build alliances?
That's not really an allyship. That's business.
All right, I guess maybe we being semantical, or maybe differences in opinions of what an ally is versus doing business. Like if we do business, are we? Are we not allies if we do business?
Not if as soon as the business
Would you
arrangement
call a
goes into
partner? You would call a partner a ally, right?
I mean, that's an example of what I'm talking about, to where it has to be something enforceable. Because if we're in business together and we both are guaranteed to take an L, then we're in business together. But when the ally kind of comes off as like friends, like there's no friends in business, there's no friends in
I don't
politics.
think ally means friends. I disagree.
Because I think a lot of times, like
Your partner doesn't
in
even mean friend.
There's friends when it comes to nepotism and who these people hand. Like there's a lot of allyship that goes
Like the
on.
U.S. is allies with France, but we ain't friends.
ally is a state formally cooperating with another for military or other
It's
groups.
cooperation. Exactly. It's just simple cooperation.
The only thing with allyship for us is I think we need to start with allyships from within and start there, because we have a long track record of being double crossed, or we get put in the front lines and then the spoils get split by other people. And like, so I think we need to hold off with trying to do this rainbow coalition thing, and then the black people who are on code need to be allies with themselves, and then the black people who are off code and want to go friends and make allies with other stuff and keep trying that again, they need to go off and do that. But I think also people around the FBAs who are eager to have allies, they're like a security risk.
Gotcha. Hey, so I guess I'll throw the question to you, G. So again, MLK, Poor People's March, Fred Hampton, Rainbow Coalition, and this general idea that there is power in fighting the power structure amongst allies, even it being within like a class structure, not even specifically it needing to be race, XYZ. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is where it shouldn't be mutually exclusive, where it's one or the other. I think it's both things need to be addressed. I think as a black community, we got to put black first. Aside from that, I think as American citizens, we got to put class first, is how I would kind of frame it. It's like when we start talking about black folks in the community, you shouldn't put like other intersections above being black. Like you shouldn't put women above black, men above black, sexuality above black, religion above black. I don't think that's the case. I think as black people, we do need to come together just on the basis of being black. But I also think that beyond that, we need to then connect with the underbelly of where the real power lies in the country, which is, all those different underprivileged groups that cut across so many different races. I do think that's a legitimate thing and a very powerful thing that intimidates the people in power. And then, like I said, it's the reason why those gentlemen were ultimately assassinated. It wasn't just because they were pro-black. They were onto something else too that I think was putting a little bit of fear into the folks in positions of power.
Johnny, talk to us.
Repeat the question one more time, because
so I like kind of speaking to like the idea of MLK with the Poor People's March, Fred Hampton and the Rainbow Coalition. Is there power in having solidarity with other people? Not even specifically on like a racial line. With that was almost a class line on both of those programs. Is there some power in that?
Yeah, I mean, so there's definitely, whether you're gonna call them allies or not, but finding commonality or building rapport amongst your fellow person, networking is always going to be the way to get, ahead. And you can even look at, we're gonna talk about allies. This is gonna sound crazy, but you can look at the Alphabet Boys. They're a group of non-conformists. They're the opposite of what most people are, but they have grouped all themselves together, and they're kind of effective. And as a community, they fight for things together, even though they don't all believe in the same shit. They like different shit, but they put themselves in this. We're the opposite of what's norm, and it's been very effective. So being allies with people, it can work, but you have to have that commonality. You have to build that rapport, and you have to find like the mutual benefit if you're gonna have allyship. And I think that's the most important part of it. I'm a salesperson, so it's the last week of the month. That's one of my trial closes. It's like if we can close it this week, it's probably something that I can make mutually beneficial. Is that something that you're interested in? So like, it has to be a mutual benefit, and
but there's power in fighting the power structure with other people that would benefit mutually from it. I get what you're saying. Hey Black, welcome back. I was just about to say we got to get you out the private chat. The commentary is too good. Talk to us.
My camera was messing up. Now, I think allyship only works. I think allyship only works when you have equal or greater power. If you look at like successful allies, it's because they respected the power they hold. When it comes to our community and allies, it's like we always end up getting exploited. Or
well, I think you jumping the gun a little bit. I'm gonna re-ask the question to you.
Well, okay. Well, I'll go back to your
Okay.
original question. If we talking in general, I just think it has to. You have
Oh,
to have.
not that part. Fred, like the Rainbow Coalition and the Poor People's March. The idea of if it could be beneficial to have allyship with others, even not even on necessarily like race lenses or gender lenses, but like even class. If there's beneficiality to just that specifically, and we'll continue building.
I think the concept, especially then, it had the right intent. Like when you on the same level as Latinos or other brown people of brown or gays and stuff, then it's kind of easy to, galvanize a fight for the same thing. I just feel like it usually starts to divert, and we don't really benefit from it. But I think you have to try something to see if it will work. And I think in that time, in that context of that era, it was beneficial for them at that time because it was more than Black people suffering. So it's like, all right, we can all kind of, be this rainbow of everybody coming together. But like I say,
but you don't think today it will be beneficial organizing or having some level of allyship amongst class? I guess that's more so like something. Okay.
No, I think you have to have solidarity within your community and within your people to have a proper ally that's not going to exploit you or that's not going to use your momentum to uh, foster their own agenda, which usually happens. Like we'll have allies, we'll have these Black movements and things, and then they'll change the wording. It'll become minority. It'll become people of color. It will become disenfranchised. It'll become everything but Black. So I feel like you have to have true solidarity with your own community, and then you partner, and then you ally with people because they have more respect for you, and then they can't really infiltrate and exploit the movement that you started. So it's like it's not going to be beneficial to ally with a disjointed faction or a disjointed community. People only will ally to motivate their own agendas, or what can we get out of this? And we see that all the time in our community. It's like, we'll create the motion or the momentum of something, and so somebody else will benefit from it in the end. So I don't think like when we think of world powers and they ally, it's because they have something of equal or greater value. The UK, the France, they ally with each other because they have mutual goals of white supremacy around the world. So let's ally because of geographical location and power. You're here, I'm here, we're there. So let's unite and continue to perpetuate white supremacy. Although we're not really cool, America don't really fuck with France, America don't really fuck with the UK, and vice versa. But we have a mutual goal of white supremacy. So we can get under that umbrella together, and we can all kind of get pieces of this pie. But it has to be some type of equal. You know, like if you on a basketball
So
team,
how would you frame that inside? Like if you look at World War II and like the Allies inside that wasn't specifically based off of like equal power as much as like a common enemy.
and that's what I'm saying. It's a common enemy or mutual goal.
Oh, okay, all right. And I guess that was the frame. Maybe I didn't put it in there. Like
it's like
having it based off of a common enemy, could it be beneficial along the lines of whether it's class or I think we started off at theoretical.
Yeah, do we have a mutual goal? Like if we're all going against Germany right now, or the USSR or Soviet Union,
Or
geographically,
white supremacy.
yeah, I need to ally with somebody who's close there, so I can put my army there and be closer, you know, to invading or to war. So I'm going to link up with this country, and then in exchange, I'm also offering them protection. So everybody gets some type of mutual benefit. Nobody's allying with nobody that they don't get no benefit from.
Gotcha. Okay, so moving the conversation forward a little bit. Again, not specifically diving deep in, because I know as soon as we get into like specifically the nuance of Black culture and allyship is going to kind of explode a little bit, but just setting just framework for everybody's specific ideology. Do you have to align and or support each other in all things to be allies?
No. But you have to align and support each other in some things.
Yeah.
It ain't gotta be all things. You can have certain things. That's why, like, you know, certain countries speak different languages, have different religions, but they still go to war with each other. So you don't have to agree 100%. I think that's part of the problem individually we have is we want to agree 100% with the people that we're around. We're uncomfortable with disagreement. But when it comes to this, you just have to have something like A Black said, there has to be some mutual benefit. There has to be something you have in common. There has to be something that you're aligned with, that you're both willing to fight, and that's both valuable to both sides. But it ain't got to be everything. It just has to be something.
Got it. G, your chat calling you out. But I'll also say, talk to us.
I don't know that nigga, man. I don't know that nigga at all.
He's on code. Hey yo, I see you got.
You see one of Trey's warriors, man. You know the warrior class, man.
That's the
bro,
warrior.
I think
you
a
know
lot
the
of
warrior
people,
class be added on these comments.
G. It's just that a lot of people take it. They're like so.
I know they warriors in the comments.
No, it's not just that, bro. I think what a lot of some of y'all are not really getting is like, it gets kind of frustrating and kind of like it's not worth it no more to try to convince somebody that we shouldn't gang up on a Black person so the dominant society can get their money. We shouldn't have to, saying negative things about reparations, saying negative things about these people, talking about the 14th Amendment for illegal immigrants and talking about Americans built on immigrants. If we have there's so many people that
you talk down on niggas too, Trey. Like you're not just pro-Black across just for the sake of being pro-Black.
Like if I talk down on Candace Owens.
No, Omar.
Umar, do you know something? Umar said that we don't need reparations. He said Africa needs reparations. He said Africa would respect us more if we gave them money to build schools.
So this is what I'm saying. Like
that's off code, bro. Why would I support a person? You're trying to criticize me.
I think y'all about to like steer into like a completely different conversation. Let's actually stay focused for a second.
Cold conversation.
I don't like this. Yeah, we supposed to do this for Black people, but only the Black people I agree with. Like,
bro, it's not that you agree with. Omar Johnson, whatever his name is, was talking that we don't need reparations. While we're fighting for reparations, he is undermining it. He is an op. So yes, he deserves criticism. It's not like because I can't criticize a person who's speaking out against our movement.
So, but is he not FBA?
He's speaking out
against. But is he not an FBA?
Right. Like, John, what you just said too is like, bro, if saying stuff like that, I don't even know if it's even no point in, because the things you're saying, there's so many people that understand that there is a need for reparation. And I think we should brainstorm. The people that believe there's a need for reparation should brainstorm on how to get it. Because if I have to explain to you how that's off code, it's like, bro, that's like no offense or nothing like that, but it's
It ain't
almost like
about
how
me,
you
bro.
have the
I
honors
ain't.
classes versus
It's
the
not
like
even.
regular classes. Because if the teacher's trying to explain to people why we need reparations, that means the people who understand we need reparations can't
But
spend that time
what if
focused on how
Johnny
we
just
get it.
doesn't? Johnny or
But we
Umar,
talked about
whoever
this a
else
lot
don't.
though.
We just
No,
don't have
no,
to.
no, no.
We've already
But
talked
somebody,
about
but
it.
no, but
Like
the
we
issue
have
is
to.
that like they just don't have to agree. I think that
If
he's
you don't agree we need
understood.
reparations, then I
I
don't
think
really
that
know what
he's
the point of
understood it,
talking.
and he's not like
If you can't
you just
agree
could
to
not agree.
disagree, Trey,
If you
like that's the
disagree that we
issue
need
too.
reparations, then I don't even know the reason to talk to you, honestly.
But that's an emotional opinion
It's
because
not an
like
emotion, bro. I
it's
think
a
my time is
logical
better
way so
spent
we can say we can get to
brainstorming,
where we
bro.
want to without
No,
reparations.
bro. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Do you need reparations, Trey? Are you gonna be successful with or without reparations? You.
As a collective, no.
I'm saying you.
I don't. It's about the
You.
collective. That's
Trey,
another thing, bro. Like you're
You.
asking me questions that,
Okay.
like,
You don't need reparations individually. You're gonna be collective.
Hey,
And you're gonna be
fellas.
and
Let
then
me step in really
it's about
quickly.
agreement or disagreement. You can't disagree with a person.
And Johnny, we get it. I do want to steer to the conversation though. My bad for bringing up that chat. G, your chat loves you, and shout out to North Star FBA. I want to just get back to the actual conversation because again, that's going to detail and go for another 30 minutes. I'll re-ask the question, and do you have to align and or support each other on all things in order to be allies? Thoughts?
No,
Not at all.
you just have to have the overall mutual goal. How you go about doing it is going to be different, but the overall goal is the same. But you're not going to nitpick your ally and how they handle their faction or their country or whatever. It's just like, is our goal the same? Okay, and we go do our way to get there, and you do your way to get there, and we gonna meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But it don't have to all be the same.
Okay. Trey, talk to us. I'll re-ask the question. Do you have to align and or support each other on all things in order to be allies?
You have to align on all core things in order to be able to have a productive alliance.
Okay.
Somebody go be the shooters, somebody go be the rebounders, but it's all the team want to win.
And you gotta have some playmakers too.
But there's some basics though. Like I think I go back to like a class. If you're in a certain honors class and you're trying to game plan like a think tank, can you be in that think tank if you don't even believe that the ultimate goal that you're thinking about is attainable? And if you're in that think tank, should you spend that time talking to people who don't believe the goal is attainable,
Wait a
or
minute,
should
is
you?
reparations the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, I think that
Or is it
Black
something different?
liberation or freedom or Black progress would probably be like the ultimate goal for. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it seems I imagine most, if not all, people in this panel.
Yeah, it's bigger than
The route to
reparations.
getting there is what everybody would be inside your metaphor or example or hypothetical would be think tanking towards, and reparations would be a idea or concept that would help get to the road of Black liberation, freedom, and or progress. That would be like if you were having like specifically a reparations think tank, that would be different. And I think that then you already have to pre-select people that already agree with the idea of reparations and
As the
XYZ,
ultimate goal.
and then as the ultimate goal, and then like that would be a different version of a think tank, in which like I think the common thread between everybody here right now, and I imagine, is Black progress, Black freedom, Black liberation, in general. And that's probably where you might have some converging things because of that. That's not specifically this think tank, if that's what you're speaking about, as much as but
And Trey, I'm actually on your side. I'm pro reparations.
Man, but I don't know. But you even putting stuff out there is like, because that's another thing I kind of get tired of the Black community. On top of us piling on when the dominant society chooses one of us to gain their resources, how we help them. Another thing I hate about the Black community is oh, he's right about this, that type of Negro. The one who, Charleston White, yeah, he was right about this. Candace Owens, she was right about this. She may say all these messed up things about rooting for lynching and stuff, and Charleston might always say all this stuff about it's okay graping and stuff like that. But he was right about this, so therefore I'm going to.
You got people that you just agree with 100%.
On the core issues, yes. I think there's some things that if you say that that don't align with my core beliefs, then I don't really have any value in further discussing.
When you say
the
core
topic.
beliefs, what does that like? What's core beliefs outside of just something
I think
disagree on?
Compensatory, lineage-based justice.
Reparations, nigga. His core beliefs only is reparations.
Nigga, rephrase that shit, nigga. Nigga, what? Like, nigga, just speak English, nigga. What is you talking about, man? Like, what? Like, say it plain.
Is reparations. That's
say it plain, bro.
I mean, it's a form of reparations, but I say it that way because when you say reparations, people put up this wall, they put up other things. Just like when I don't always say FBA, sometimes I say descendants of freedmen or non-immigrant Black Americans, just because I, choose the best word because I don't want to make people put a wall up. So that's why I say compensatory justice. We need to be compensated, and it needs to be lineage based. And I think unless we get that, there's no other way, because every other group we compete against, they were given things in order to put them above us. And if we don't say that, we need to be given that same thing that everyone else got, I think that's a self-esteem issue. Because it's like right now we're in a line in a group, right? And they keep handing stuff out to everyone. They never handed us anything. And instead, they was like, oh, we'll do for self. I think doing for self is demanding reparations. It's voting out people in Congress who don't believe in that. And I think the reason that we do have a plan for that, and it starts with delineation. And
okay.
I can go further.
Hey, fellas, again, like, I don't know, like, as hard as y'all want to make this a reparations conversation,
I don't understand how you get them without allies.
But
I can explain
to the words that you just said.
I'm tapping out.
I'm going to. I'm going. It's your fault, Johnny. But next question. As we continue building, can a real revolution happen without allies? I repeat, can a real revolution happen without allies, especially in 2025? G. Or Johnny, you want to hop in first? Okay.
I was gonna say because like even this country, like the British had allies when they came, or we had allies. The Americans had allies. The British had allies too. Both sides were, linking up to fight each other. So you're not gonna win without allies. Like you have to link up, because if you don't, you're gonna be fighting. It's world wars. Like if Germany didn't have allies, they wouldn't have had a chance. If Russia didn't get allies, they wouldn't have had a chance. If we ain't linked up with England and France, we wouldn't have had a chance. So you have to have allies in like global wars and the type of stuff we talking about. Even regional, and if we talking reparations, we gotta have somebody on our side too, because we ain't got the majority.
Yeah, but what y'all not understanding though is everyone is already allied against us. So we want to make allies for people who are already allied against us. So that don't make any sense.
We don't have a majority in a democratic society. How else are we going to get?
It's not about numbers, bro. It's a few good men. I think I would rather, would you rather have 400 people? Would you rather have 400,000 random people behind you? Or would you rather have like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, whoever has the most money in BlackRock, the heads of states of the United States? And if I had 10 people at that level, is it strength in number? Who wins? The people with the numbers or people with the power?
But those people you just listed are nothing without their people. Like
their numbers.
Like they're not just. It's not just Elon Musk as one single entity. He's bringing an army of his employees and engineers. Like same thing with Bill Gates and these people. Like they're not like just single handedly responsible for these successes.
I think he played.
Yeah, well, I guess
major
what you're talking
factor
about
in a lot
is
of
their
that.
actual influence. If not, it'd just be like an oligarchy.
Yeah, it's like
In which, like,
Exactly.
some people kind of
it's
say
like
we're moving into.
when you say, would I rather have 400,000 people or would I rather have a handful of rich white dudes?
Give me
the 400,000 people, because those rich white dudes, without anybody working for them, like what are they like? They're gonna have to use their money to get more people. Like
I think if I had those people on my
those
team,
old
with all
white
that
men
wealth and
themselves are
power,
like, I can like give me, I shoot a fair one with any of them. Like,
what if half of those
we
400,000?
get reparations tomorrow, my nigga. We going for the gusto. Like if it's just them, like
what if half of those?
we could go.
You and Mark Zuckerberg in
I
the
know
ring.
Zuckerberg be training for that UFC shit, but I'm gonna stand on mine. Like, give me a week to get in shape. I'll fuck Zuck
for
up.
your people, bro. You can't lose.
What if half of those 400,000 are idiots?
But my point is, like, what value is one? Like, you're like this idea, like this idea, these billionaires having so much power is not just because of just who they are as an individual. It's because of what their status allows them to have as an entity. Like they're an walking entity. It's not just Elon Musk. It's a bunch of people that make and work for him to put him in position to where he is today. Like, all of these people, it's not just this one person responsible for their success. It's a bunch that goes into that.
Man, that's where the previous generation kind of screwed up. Like, I don't want to beat them up because I think they should have tried this, but they thought that bringing over a bunch of people would be strength in numbers. But what they didn't realize that if you have a bunch of people but they don't have a mutual goal and they all separate and look out for themselves, then that is not an addition just because of strength in numbers. You have to have some cohesion, and you have to be on code, and that's where it gets into quality over quantity, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right, so I do want to redirect to the question to anybody that hasn't answered it yet. Can real revolution happen without allies?
I don't think so.
Yes, that's like, first off,
and again, speaking 2025.
Speaking of 2025, revolution is like, you can have Elon money and pay a hacker that can take down a whole banking system of a country that's more powerful than 400,000 people yelling in the streets.
Right.
Like,
thank you.
We have to revolutionize our thought of like warfare and protest and stuff, because it's a digital war now. Like, we see what's going on in China.
But isn't that an ally or no?
It could be. That's what I'm saying. It's like, what are we allying with? I think we have to change the idea of what we need to be allying with. I think we need to be allying with technology. It's like we have to, I think, consider new ideas of power and how to gain power. Because, marching in the streets or having somebody be your friend, hasn't been working. So it's like, look at what's going on the world stage right now, which is, the AI Cold War pretty much, and this race that we're not talking about, we're not a part of in the community, but that's who we need to be allying with. Things like that, things that one person can control 100 drones, one person can control people's cell phones and things like that, and cause real change and stuff out here. It's like, we have to look at new ways of warfare.
But I guess, like, in what you described, it sounds like allying with outside the group still, to where, like, you would still, if we're speaking about a revolution inside Black America, to where we become inside a better position of power. Like you said, AI, that would be like reaching out to China, or I think it's China with the DeepSeek thing, with the new AI thing, I want to say, or reaching out to like another outside entity outside of America. I imagine that's what it sounded like you were saying. No?
Yeah, it's like, enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I'm looking at other countries and other people.
Okay, all right. So you're saying that the ally doesn't have to be in America, but you would still need to ally / partner with some outside entity to make, quote unquote, this revolution or a revolution happen.
Yeah, like, I don't know of any revolution that didn't have some type of ally. Like even with apartheid in South Africa,
Yeah,
Nigeria
we need allies.
created a tax on their people to help South Africa. You know, like everybody kind of gets help somewhere. It's like who you want the help from. I think it's always the assumption that when we say allies, it means white people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be white people or American white people. We can be looking at China, we can be looking at Russia, we can be looking at India, we can be looking at Africa, looking at other people who we can partner with, who we can gain from, who we can have something to fall back on and have like power. Like, oh shit, black people was fucking with Indians now, or black people was fucking with like, they helping them out. They're like, they're sending them a stimulus check, or they get like, we just have to look at new ways. Because like white people, if they were going to be our allies and help us, they would have done it by now. Like they only do it to benefit themselves, and then they get out the way.
Can I ask a hypothetical?
Okay.
Trey, like, say the FBA movement started. Granted, like I see, it's political. Say an African country, Ghana, FASU, like one of those countries, Nigeria, they wanted to donate millions, 500 million to the cause. Would you not take it?
Bro, they don't have that to donate. They get aid. They get U.S. aid, bro. A lot of them are aid from our tax dollars. Give me an example of an African country that's in the position to.
A lot of these countries, you even mentioned some of them,
South
they're
Africa.
nationalizing
You
their
said
land.
Nigeria, bro. They have
and
an
they're
open
taking-
defecation problem. They don't have paved roads. They got China over there building their
Okay,
infrastructure.
whatever country,
recolonized right now.
Whatever country you want it to be, pick one.
Bro,
that's doing
all right,
good.
hey, John.
All right, what if
that would be
China
nice.
what if China cut a check for FBA?
It depends what type of check it is. If it's the type of
The
check,
same check
no, hear me
Johnny
out.
just said. The same check Johnny just said. How much, Johnny?
Bro,
How much?
bro, this,
500 million.
bro, I'm trying to live in the
China
realm
said
of.
FBI got 500 million. That should make it a billion.
I'm about to say put
make it a billion.
10 billion on it.
China got it. China got it.
Big B's.
What's the catch? What's the catch?
You gotta learn Mandarin.
Terms. It's gonna be some terms.
Everything got to be made in China.
I'm gonna teach you how to speak Chinese or whatever Jen said.
I mean, it depends on the catch, bro. Like that's what I'm saying, bro. Like
they got it. They got to split 50% of all the cultural exports.
Yeah, then get out of here, bro. I'm sick of being exploited, bro. And I think our eagerness to have allies, every time we have an allyship, like we voted Obama in. What did he do? He helped dreamers and LGBTQ. And then we fought for the 14th Amendment. What did it do? It helped immigrants. Every time we have a partnership, we end up getting the crumbs. So I think that right now, it needs to be quality over quantity. I don't even want to be allied with most FBAs. I really want to be allies with FBAs who are on code, because if we're trying to have a conversation about what we need to do, and in some ways like Africa, I'm like, bro, we're talking about our American politics here. The biggest strength we have in our American politics is our Americanism, like being American, the fact that we're not deportable. Because that's why we can get lineage-based stuff. If we get reparations, it has to be lineage-based. Everything that we've accomplished as Black America has been on our own brow. Like nobody's ever helped us, and if they have helped us, it's been like a way where there's been a few that helped, but the risk, because half of the people, there were white people that helped on the Underground Railroad. Y'all gave the example earlier, right? Well, there are also white people that pretended to help on Underground Railroad, and they will sell you back to slavery. So that's a risk in itself.
But that don't take away from the white ally. They were a white ally.
It just makes it risky. That's all I'm saying. It's risky. It's too risky.
But it's all risky because
you gotta take risk. Like I mean, if you putting a parlay up tonight, you taking the risk. If you investing in stock, you taking the risk. I mean, you gotta.
Well, I don't want my strategy. I don't want my strategy to be on the same level as a parlay.
IRA, you ain't got no. You ain't basing none of your future retirement on risk.
And when you look at the Italian mob, you look at these Black organizations, Quentelyoung, everybody went down from an insider.
They did go down from an insider, but they made a lot of bread. They were really successful, more successful than we've ever been as far as holding power.
Even though they went down very quickly, holding power for a snapshot of time.
Say very quickly.
Is that the goal, to just have a snapshot of have a snapshot of winning and then crumble? Is that a win for you?
I think they still have a lot of their wealth, bro. I think they're doing the mob. I think But at the end of the day, you can't really make that comparison because they benefit from white supremacy. So we have a unique case. We have to be even more careful than they were.
But what I'm saying is that in all these examples of like on code, keeping it tight knit, etc., these niggas got loose lips, man. Like they don't like these niggas are not susceptible to, like they are susceptible to getting got. Like they're the reason why shit falls. It be the niggas right there beside you.
He talking about taking FBA risk.
Yeah, I don't even really want to be respectful. I wouldn't even want to ally.
I like Johnny. Johnny turned up today. But let me ask y'all this. Just moving the conversation forward a little bit. And now starting to get into like that black and brown and what's a proper color to say for like our Asian counterparts?
Counterpart.
Yeah.
Yellow.
As humans.
Yellow.
As humans.
Oh.
Is our disdain for each other based out of an orchestrated plan to divide and conquer by the white supremacist system?
Bro, they're on.
When you say each other as
all right, so this is now starting to reach into like I imagine that we agreed that amongst the minority community there is a bunch of different versions of disdain for each other. That is held across the board. And so just re-asking the question, is our disdain for each other as minorities, as different groups, the underprivileged, whatever terms you want to use, is our disdain for each other based out of an orchestrated plan of divide and conquer by the white supremacist system?
I don't know if it was an orchestrated plan. I think it was them taking advantage of opportunities, especially when you talk about like the railroads, World War II, and what Japan did. I
don't think we hate Asians because of that, though, or anybody doesn't dislike Asians because of that.
We don't even got no beef with Asia, do we?
They got beef with us. They got beef with us.
But that's why I say it's orchestrated. It's orchestrated white supremacy for them to hate.
Then why did they do? Then why did they got beef with us in China where there's no white people?
Because they gave
Korea.
That's not true.
Because Asian people
do have beef with us in those countries, bro.
When they come over here, they got beef.
No, they got beef over there. There are places in Korea where black people aren't allowed.
They ain't even no niggas over there, bro.
Right, but I've heard black people go over there and talk about like they do have their thing. They're not gonna.
I'm sure there's places in Africa Koreans ain't allowed.
There's places in Africa.
There's places in North Carolina where I wouldn't advise you to go.
But like when you go on YouTube, you can see black people loving Korea and hating it. It's just like wherever your lens is at.
It's like you go there and you speak the language and you are like,
oh shit, hey black, you went the you walked the Great Wall.
I lived in South Korea for a year.
Damn.
That shit, man. Like
there was no.
They love us out there.
They love. I think there is. I've also heard where some foundation Black Americans get a lot of love out there, but I've also heard a lot of tropes where it's anti-black, and I also know they treat Africans better than Black Americans too. I've heard
definitely
that
definitely not.
Oh, really?
They shit on Africans. I mean, there's always exceptions because there's ignorance everywhere. So, and a lot of their ignorance is based on they don't know. So it's not even necessarily hate or racism. It's just like they don't know. Like we assume that certain people in countries know about black people and stuff, but a lot of times I'll be in different cities and I'm literally the first black person they've ever seen. You know, that's why they line up and take pictures with you. That's why they want to touch your hair and stuff. But most of
hair.
Yeah, but it never felt like, you know, zoo animal or nothing. It was always in a sense of admiration. Like I had an old white Korean man told me, you know, y'all the original man and stuff, and you know that black Africans traveled to Korea and the first Koreans were black and stuff like, and you can see that in their history. They tell that tale of like Africans landing in that on that peninsula. Before it was the South and the North, and it was just Korea. And the same with Japan. You can go to even certain parts of Japan and see black Japanese and people like Africans.
Exactly. And how do they treat
over?
How do they treat the black people who are indigenous to the land that they're in? Don't they like push them off?
But that's the same. That's what Andre said. Like
darker people are treated bad everywhere, but they're
That's my
also
point.
treated, but there's also exceptions. It's not like widespread. Like it's mostly love when I go places, but there's ignorance everywhere. Just like it's ignorance here, there's people there, and they go off stereotypes and tropes and stuff, but the majority is love. Like the majority is safety. And the places I've been, I've heard stuff, but I've never experienced that. Like it's been nothing but love and admiration and people trying to help you out and feed you and take you into their home. It's never been like no nigga, nigga, nigga. Like only place I've ever been called a nigga was Egypt.
They
And
don't get racist till they come to America.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
not true, bro, because they're still in Arab. They have a slave trade right now, and they're enslaving black people.
well,
And
at the
and
Arab world, I ain't, that's different.
Yeah. Arabs is
I ain't
more
get there.
different. But
in South America, the same thing. They push, and in Mexico, they treat the native
well, I don't
black
know.
people like crap.
We was talking
Uh,
about Asians though.
In
But I'm talking.
Brazil.
But
yeah.
my point is, every continent treats the native black people like crap.
But they do that because it's a threat to them because those natives are usually the
I'm not making
indigenous
no
are
excuses
the
for them.
first. I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying that we happens here. Darker people are treated worse, are locked up more, are killed more. Like it's the same globally. Like
And they
so.
treat white people good. You can go over there like James Bond, you get the royal treatment.
Eh, I don't know. I mean, they treat money good, and white people have money, but that don't mean they like them. They talk shit about them. They don't like them. They talk shit about America, like at the same time, but they're gonna take their money. They'll fake it and all that shit, and then when you turn around, they talking shit about them too.
And so
Business.
how come in Japan they draw their anime characters? They don't draw them with like their normal eyes. They draw them more like the white people like that. And then
That
they have
I
and then
don't
they have
know, but
black characters.
I
They
also
got
know in
black face
Japan they
characters
paying.
too.
I also know in Japan they're paying black men $75,000 and giving them houses to impregnate their women right now. And they're not doing that to white men. They said black men specifically because of their blood.
Black American
They
men.
want that FBA DNA over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they don't want that Nigerian. They don't want Mr. Matumbo.
They
They
want
want
that good old FBA over there.
I ain't
yeah.
heard. They say black men, but yeah, it's like we black
We got all the migrants if they want black men.
dark skin get treated a certain kind of way everywhere, unless you go to Africa, someplace where they all dark skin, and then they have their own factions there of light skin and colorism and stuff too. It's not as heavy as ours, but it's different. And even in the Caribbean, they got all types of names for different shades of colors and stuff. But the people of darker skin are always treated a certain way everywhere in the world, whether it's the Black Indians and the Hindu, whether it's in America, whether it's you in Russia or somewhere, it don't matter because they fear us. It's not, that's just what it is. They know who
Man,
was here first.
And
can I do another crazy take? I got you.
yeah.
Give me
Before you
hold
go
on.
to
Give me
your
hold
crazy
on. I
take,
got you. Yeah, I got a take, man. Y'all gonna think it's
but
crazy. I don't think it's crazy.
just hold that when
I
we get
got
to
you.
the end of the show. I'm say, hey Trey, what was that crazy take you was talking about? But just to redirect me, not redirect, but re-ask the question. Anybody that hasn't answered yet. Divide and conquer is our inability to get in solidarity with minorities, generally speaking, across the country where there is a common enemy, i.e., the white power structure. Is that based out of an orchestrated plan of divide and conquer by the power structure?
I don't think it's like I don't know if it's an orchestrated plan, but they definitely empower some of these groups to then turn around and hate on us. Like you can see it out in LA with like all these migrants, the Mexicans, uh the gang wars. Like you can even see the gang wars out in LA. There's a lot of
I
these
don't know if the gang wars is because of white folk though, but I'm gonna let you keep
the
talking.
immigration is and them letting immigration and they letting
What?
these
Oh yeah, boy.
sanctuary cities and allowing these people to come over here and take root. I think there is there was an intentionality to it to undermine whether it was our vote, our economic power, or our real estate. They knew them coming over here would water us down as a minority and thus take away our value as a voter block. So I definitely think it was intentional in that aspect.
G, talk to us.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's engineered, it's intentional. Like it's not by accident. Would be what I would say, and it's like, and it's like it's interesting to me because it's like from an America perspective, like what country in y'all opinion is America? If you just had to say one, like who is the biggest enemy to America?
China.
Does anybody disagree with Johnny?
You probably throw Russia out there.
Some people might say Russia, but
yeah,
I would say Israel.
Got the muscle though. China got.
Come on, Trey. Like Israel, they're clearly allies. like, can we like have like an honest like conversation? Like, come on, bro. Like that's not even. They're clearly not even enemies, bro. Like it doesn't even make any sense.
I said Israel,
bro. There's no way you said that like with a straight face.
I mean, it depends on. I think there's a lot of people who would agree with me, especially if you look at APAC. It's kind of like there's a lot of predatory relationship where we fund them, they go and do things that benefit them. And
you
then
say Israel's our enemy.
So look, all right. Look, let me not even. So most people would say if China is not the enemy, it's definitely one of the more prominent.
They would say Russia.
North Korea. You could throw North Korea up there. They hate us.
Enemy or threat? Is it enemy or
top
threat?
three.
Threat, enemy, threat, however you want to put it, right? But when you look at inside America, what demographic is the wealthiest, including the whites?
Them Asians.
It's the Asians.
Asian men and women. Yeah, we just looked at it. We just looked at it. You just posted it in the chat. It's Asian men than Asian women.
Oh, because Jewish people are included in white. So
look, the point I'm trying to make is like I don't even know how it goes to where he just went, but the point I'm trying to make is like it's interesting that like when we talk about like America and it's like, okay, it's all this talk internally about China, but yet there's no restrictions on Chinese people when they get to this country. You feel what I'm saying? It's like they come here and can thrive.
You think the issue is what Vivek was talking about?
No, I don't. I think it's more systemic than that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's engineered to be a certain way. It's like it's smoke and mirrors. It's like so it's like this is my point. It's like, are they really even enemies to some degree? Because all of our shit that we consume is exported from this country, like the bulk of it. And without them producing goods, what would our market look like? Without us paying them to make goods, what would their economy look like? It's like a feedback loop. We need each other. Like we kind of married into this thing, America and China. It's not one without the other. China's growing because of America's investment in China, and China needs markets like the American market, which is the consumer market in the world, to ship all those damn goods that they produce and so forth. And so I say that this thing is engineered in like a weird way because they allow even their quote unquote enemies to come over here and establish wealth in unique ways that they won't even let our people even touch. And so that's why I say it's definitely intentional that every single type of person that comes over here somehow finds a way to get more and earn more and obtain more wealth than the average Black experience. That's not an accident. That is super intentional. And I think a lot of it just boils down to the history of how we've been systematically treated. But I just have to say it's not an accident. It's definitely engineered by the people in power, and they throwing smoke and mirrors in our face, trying to make it seem like we should be, hating all these other people, when in reality, America has an open door policy for these other people to come over here and make bank, but just not for us.
So what about the fact that Asians, Europeans, Arabs, and even Africans of all
Arabs too, they come over here and don't have the same restrictions as us, but you let them tell it. It's the worst. These are some of the scariest enemies in the world. Iranians do well over here in America.
But I think if you look deeper on it, I think there is a collective jealousy and hate against us that I don't want to give them like a pass. I know you're not giving them a pass, but I don't want to put the blame off on the dominant society. I think that everyone has a slur that they have against the black people in their land. We've been enslaved by all of these different continents. I think that they are in like they have like a devil's bargain to exploit us as black people. I think they want to. I think Black Americans are the only group of people that don't want to be white.
I don't know about that.
Can I say something? The common pattern with
Even
all them
Russians don't want
groups,
to be white.
all those groups
Russians
that
are
was
white.
the common pattern with all them groups, whether it's the Asians, the Arabs, the Chinese, is they all have a country that they can fall back on. And you have
Yep.
people like FBA Trey who wants to disconnect from Africa, and it's like there's no benefit in giving benefits to Black Americans because we don't have a country for them to build relations with. So we
You
can
can
build
go,
a
hey Black.
we can.
Why don't you go be a citizen there, bro?
Let
Oh,
let him land his point. Let him land his point.
I'm getting my dual citizenship, but the point I'm making is
Why do it?
if you don't have a
Wait, bro.
resource or a power to fall back on, they don't have to cater to you. They cater to these other groups because they have relations with their mother country. You don't want to be a part of your mother country, so they don't have no reason to give you anything. And that's what it comes down to. And that's why people like Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm and Martin, before they were killed, they say, we can't be free till Africa is free. And if you don't connect the diaspora and reconnect your power back to your land base, back to your resource, they don't have to give you concessions. They
You
don't
said
have to give
MLK
you.
said that, A Black? You said
Oh
MLK
yeah,
said that?
MLK before he died against the Vietnam War and was connecting the African diaspora, killed him. Malcolm X left Nation of Islam, start reconnecting with Africa, with Saudi Arabia, killed
Yeah,
him.
when he went to
When they start getting
Mecca.
into foreign policy and interacting with those world leaders and meeting African presidents and shit, they gotta go because if you get a footing in a place that has a resource that can back you, then you have power. We don't have anything that backs us for them to give us any concessions. So we don't really have no power to demand nothing. You have to stay cool with the Chinese people when they come here. Cause if you treat them bad, what China go do? If you treat the Japanese bad, what Japan go do? If you treat the Arabs bad, and they got Saudi Arabia and Qatar and these countries that have billions of dollars of oil, of natural gas, what they gonna do? They can treat us bad and put their foot on our neck, literally and figuratively. What we gonna do? March in the street and then be right back to talking about some bullshit. You have to have a resource and a land and power to back you to have relations with foreign powers, and that's the purpose of connecting and reconnecting with the diaspora. It's not about denying what you built here. It's about war and finding somebody to connect with like minds and listen. We go connect with y'all, then we're gonna protect y'all, and then we're gonna be in together. And then when they see that, it's like, all right, we can't treat these black people any kind of way because now they have all got dual citizenship in Nigeria and Ghana and South Africa. All those people have now they're putting out their colonizers, they're starting to get their infrastructure, get their money back together. And if you connected with that, then you can fund your movements here and you have power. But we have nothing of real meaning that can demand anything or command anything. All those other groups, all those Arabs and people, they do good. They look out for them more because they want to have good relations with their foreign entities. And that's what it comes down to.
Sound like allies.
Sounds like allies.
Mm.
What's the point of ally with Black Americans when what can you get from them but a workforce, and you don't even really need that as much now.
All right, so I'm gonna toss and start moving to a little bit of where y'all are at. And this is kind of more the direct on the head question, which would be, does allyship, whether we're talking black and brown, the diaspora, does this make sense for black people in America, being allies with outside groups? Again, black, brown, Asian, Indian, whichever way you kind of want to shape it, diaspora, we talking about Caribbean, Africa. Do outside allies make sense for Black people in America if we're pushing for liberation, Black progress, Black freedom in general in America?
I think 100%, man. It's like the same way America has bases in Africa and Europe and Asia and all in South America. They got those bases for a reason. You know what I'm saying? They have these things strategically placed to help from a global, perspective. And I think if we talk about true delineation as a people of descendants of American slaves, then that requires like the same sort of big picture approach to thinking about like how we protect ourselves in the four corners of the world, if you will. Like, do we have the ability, to go to certain places and maybe have visa privileges, maybe have certain things that make it easier, etc. Like, I just feel like, again, like if we think we're just gonna come together domestically and bully people in power when we're even at our best 13% of the population, I just think that without allies, the 13% of the population, like it can be a loud minority, but it's not going to be a sustainable impact, in my opinion. It's going to be like a more like a flash pan sort of thing, come and go sort of thing, without the allies to give it that sustainability.
Gotcha, fellas.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just based on kind of what G was saying, just based on math, if we 13% of the population, we need allies in order, like in a democratic society where it's on voting and it's about electoral college, but it's basically about what the people want. We're gonna have to get people that are gonna want what we want, and we're gonna have to be able to create benefits for the people that we want to ally with us. We have to create a benefit for them in the same way we'll need them to support us for our benefit. So we definitely need an ally, but how we do it is debatable. But we need allies to go where we want to go.
Got it. A Black, talk to us.
And what was the question again?
Oh, just like pretty much generally speaking, when we talk about Black, brown, whether it's the diaspora in general, do Black people, do we need allies? Does it make sense for us to actually need allies for our progress?
Absolutely. I mean, if we was going to progress, we would have did it by now. It's like everybody else progresses, like I was just saying, because they have some type of power or resource behind them. Either you got nuclear warheads or you got an important resource that you can export. So we don't have any of that. Like, we don't have a resource that is very valuable on the world stage as Black Americans that comes collectively from us. So you need to ally and build a relationship with somebody that can back you, that can support you, or you're going to be powerless because you can't command anything when you don't have anything of value that the world needs. So you need allies if you want to progress, or you're just going to keep having conversations that go in circles and nothing is going to come from it. Everybody else, they have somebody. How many times you see Japanese people getting shot unarmed by cops, or Arabs getting foots in their necks and stuff? It's like, it might be some exceptions, but if it was on a large scale like us, I guarantee their mother country will be either going to war, halting trade, doing something that can affect the American economy. What can we do? So it's like, why give us reparations? Why give us anything? Why give us concessions when you don't have a powerful ally that threatens us? We don't threaten the power structure. So you need ally to feel power, to gain that power, and to make them like, oh, now they're a threat. Now these people are behind us. Like, now they allied with Brazil, and with Nigeria and with South Africa, and they're hot on this, and we can't get this from them now because Black Americans said no. It's like you gotta think bigger than your own because we're not enough here. We don't have no true power. We don't even own 1% of the land here. So we can't even be like, we all go on our own land. It's like, we don't have no real power. And it's like, yeah, we deserve reparations. Yeah, we deserve all this stuff. But if we don't build international relations, we're not going nowhere. We can't close ourselves off. Like, that's the silliest shit. There's no war won. There's no progress won without having some major power behind you. And that's just what it comes down to. We got to have international relations. We got to get out into the diaspora. And that doesn't deny or decline what we've done here, what we've built here. But you got to think bigger than that, because we're bigger than that. And we all over the world. And why wouldn't you utilize that instead of just saying, nah, we just go do this ourselves and we don't need them and our lineage? And that's just so stupid at the end of the day. It hasn't worked, and there hasn't been a major movement, accomplishment, or nothing done by that faction or that movement since it started. Just a bunch of niggas talking and projecting intellectual self-hate. And that's it.
FBA Trey, talk to us.
I mean, there's so much that y'all said that I could probably list like 30 or 40 things that y'all said that I disagree with. And I'm almost like just watch. Like this, everyone's not going to be convinced. And fortunately, there's a growing momentum of people that are making an impact. If I tell you the impact that we're making, I think y'all are just going to say, like, y'all going to downplay it, everything like that. But I think you're going to see us pick up momentum with people that aren't saying we need Africa. Because I'll walk with you for a second on that theory, A Black. Maybe Africa, if they would do something for us to help here, use all those tremendous resources they have. They're doing so much better than us. Use all those great minds to help us out. They never sent any boats to pick us up after slavery. They never did anything about Jim Crow. The resources that they have there, they're getting exploited for them worse than we are. Like, and you say we don't have.
They've given asylum to many of our political prisoners, many of our leaders. They've given money to many of our leaders. And if you don't build a relationship with people, why would they do this stuff?
Give me examples. Give me examples of Black people who got asylum in Africa where they don't have no extradition. I'm not aware of them helping us like that. So I'm aware of like Cuba.
You got
the Black Panthers.
Your top FBAs, W.B. Du Bois, who went out there. You got Stokely Carmichael.
When was this?
When was it? I don't know the exact dates, but it's true. They went out there. Why would they choose to spend their last days there than here? After fighting and doing so much for the people here, why did they choose for Africa to spend their last days? These FBA people.
So what is Africa doing for us now?
What are we doing for Africa?
Bro, I don't care. I'm not trying to be allies with them. You are.
Scratch that.
I'm not trying to be allies.
What are we doing for us? What is an initiative, a major initiative from FBA that they're doing for Black people? What's the
reparations, bro?
What is the oh my god,
delineation? We're forcing them to address it, bro. Say what you want to say about it, but
you're forcing them to address it. How?
I've never heard this much talk about reparations during a campaign.
Because we live in an internet culture that magnifies things. But
again, like I said, bro, everything I say, I'll say, you're just gonna find a way to undermine it or debunk it or say it's not gonna happen.
Undermining it,
so
but the
therefore,
talk is not
I give up, bro. I think the time will be more effective speaking with people who are on code, and that group is growing to a point where we have enough momentum to where we don't need to convince people. I think there's people with an ear for it and for a mind for it. That I'm not trying to explain to nobody why we shouldn't center Africa. Like, our fight is here. We need to center ourselves and center our lineage first.
All I ask is, what's a major initiative that has been accomplished so far? Like reparations is not new. It's just more magnified now because
it's more magnified. It's gaining momentum, and also on top of that, we got some points with delineation recently where Trump was talking about how the 14th Amendment was meant for us, not all black people. He didn't even call us African Americans. He said delineation was for us. So now we're saying, okay, if that was for us, and the reason that and it's been bastardized and given to other people, that's an argument we could use to justify us getting resources and set aside just for us. On top of that, recently with Clarence Thomas, the only good thing I can think that he's done was his ruling against affirmative action, was saying that's just for us. And we even hear them talk about foundational Black Americans on the news now. And Claude Anderson, the older generation did not pick him up. He was about to retire. The FBA movement brought him out of retirement because he had given up. And now we're adopting a lot of his strategies and picking up for it. Like, hey, Black, you don't have to rock with it. Honestly,
Bruh,
I don't think there's no value. There's absolutely no value in trying to
Claude
convince you, bro.
Anderson is selling books. So
I think if I were to convince you to be on board, all you would do is undermine it, bro. Respectfully, and that goes for like all of y'all, bro.
I'm just saying, what is the initiative?
I don't want to be allies with most FBAs. And I think if
I feel like we starting like the tier back in this. Like I feel like almost every single
Trey don't even want to ally with his people.
I think every conversation
off code, bro.
is gonna have like the
hear me out.
We starting to kind of stacking stuff back in.
I think if we get like the FBAs who are on code and we separate, we will excel. And I think the worst thing we can do is allow the off code people to come among us, because all you're gonna do is sabotage it.
Where y'all gonna go when y'all separate?
I wouldn't tell you.
Okay. So nowhere.
All right, fellas. All right.
That's exactly what would be nowhere.
All right. Again, the goal is not to have this conversation be a delineation or reparations or FBA versus Pan-African conversation. But the beauty is that inside parentheses of every single Unpacked episodes, it seems like there's a way to dig it out. And we find ourselves there. But I guess to land this, and then we got 3 in the back. But God damn, ever since
pause.
Ever since y'all said pause, it'd be hard for me to finish that whole little piece. But we have
it's always going rampant now. I'm sorry, but
yeah. Damn.
But hey, look, just continue on, brother. Just continue on, right?
Yeah, listen, I'm about to start acting like Lord Jamar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna believe in flat Earth, and I'm gonna tell y'all thinking about gay shit too much. Nah,
yo, that nigga's hilarious too.
Yeah, he is. But nonetheless, we do have a few backstage of the app StreamYard, and before that, I guess I'll just allow you to ask: is there a way to mend some of the bridges when it comes down to Black and brown relations and or the diaspora to eventually become allies? Leah.
I don't know, man. It's like a weird time. Like not even just with Black people. I just think in general, it's like a theme of individuals. They struggle to to get along with people that they don't agree with. And I feel like until that changes, then, it's going to be tough for like this to really like go anywhere, because people don't really want to talk to people unless they echo what they want to hear, basically.
Got it. Johnny, is unity possible? Black brown relations, can we make it make sense?
Nah. At this point, I think we too far gone. I don't think.
Damn, you was just caping for your homie at the dealership.
I
said you would run the other way for him.
I want to be unified.
Oh, okay.
But my homie Trey ain't with it, and so I had to talk to the people. And
so you individually might like lend a helping hand. You gonna turn ICE away at the elementary school, but you can't depend on all black folk to do it.
Yeah, like it.
Okay.
All of us ain't gonna do that. I might throw, I might throw a
You
little
gonna turn
baby.
ICE away?
Get your. I don't care for people to get deported, Trey. They don't bother me. But as you can say, like my FBA brother, and like it's obviously not on code for us to unify with them because they ain't got our best interest. Even though I personally don't have anything with it, the code is saying we can't do it.
Oh, okay. Hey, Black. We can't hear you. You muted. You muted.
Oh, my bad. You said can brown and blacks unify? What's the question?
Yeah, is unity possible? Brown, black, the diaspora. Is there some version of unity that can happen to where we can actually become allies?
No.
Okay.
It would take something real traumatic, unfortunately. But right now it's too easy to buy people, to sell people out, and like I say, if people don't feel affected personally, they're not gonna really rally. Like that's kind of the society, at least in our country that we lived in. Like it has to be something that affects a large majority of people. But if it's not enough people, there are always people that's like, well, not my problem, so not my fight. And even like, really, that's how it's always been. I talked to my great aunt who was like bringing civil rights and stuff back then, and marching with MLK and all of them. And she even said then that all black people wasn't on board, and we see pictures and people in streets and stuff, but she said that wasn't the majority. She said they fought, and most people kind of waited for the results. But she was like, everybody wasn't fighting. It's always kind of the minority fighting for the majority, and there's never like full unity. And then when it's safe to kind of come outside, that's when everybody kind of gets on board. But now it will take something really traumatic for everybody to really kind of, rally, like COVID and everybody being bored as fuck. So yeah, let's go outside and protest because we been stuck in the house all day. But you see where that energy went once the world opened back up.
Yeah, niggas stop crumping in front of them police officers. But I just seen that video today. My bad. Trey, I ain't got it. I'm gonna ask you, but I really ain't got to because I know your answer. Is unity possible? Does black and brown whatchamacallit make sense? Or is it possible to heal those wounds?
That's the question you should ask me.
I appreciate the compliment, Q, because you already know, like, not to ask me no shit like that. But hey John, I don't even rock with our Dominican barber no more. I ain't going there no more. It's probably I don't even know if he's still there. He's probably kind of hot over there now. So
damn. Gosh, damn.
Is that serious, Trey? Is that serious?
I'm gonna learn to cut my
niggas is different. Boy, I ain't gonna
that is hilarious.
Hey, Quint, when I talked about individual sacrifice.
Yeah, that's what
that's individual sacrifice.
All right.
Sacrifice the headline.
Yeah, it was convenient. I ain't going there no more.
Nah, I think he's leaving because I think he's leaving because he was getting called the T word too much. So he said that he had to regain his FBA lineage.
It ain't got nothing to do with the barber, bro.
Phenotypically.
Got nothing to do with the barber.
No more.
Listen, that's a battle for y'all two to have. All right, but we're gonna start bringing up.
Hold on. How long you been putting that money in the Dominicans' pockets? How long you been supporting that Dominican business with all these black barbers in Charlotte?
Real quick, I didn't even get to answer the question.
Right.
Well, I think you said no, and then you started talking about why you.
How long have you not been supporting black barbers in Charlotte?
Wait, hold on. I can tell you how much, man.
How long? Black and Dominican,
bro. He be giving me he give me car basis while I get my hair cut and everything.
He give you
what?
You know
what I'm saying? Car basis. You know what I mean? Nigga, that's Dominican. That's Mexican for beer.
No, nigga, it's surveys. This nigga says Mexican for beer. This nigga
Hey,
this nigga said Carvez is like nigga. Oh, hey, come
That's what
on,
Johnny
man.
said. Head.
What I'm trying to figure out because I gave him too much
It's
money, man. Because
Mexican
I'm
for
looking.
beer. That's wild.
You know they.
Well, I'll talk about a Dominican. He said
Bro,
Man is
for beer.
Mexican for yeah.
Bro, I gave this man $652, bro.
God damn.
Damn,
like
all that
cash.
money.
All that
left
could have
for
went
you.
back to Black Wall Street.
So you let all that money leave the community?
Bro, I mean, I tried the community. I started getting
You know your boy
what
Trey
they call
G
it
cut here.
what they
You
call
could
it
have bought
what
some
is it?
land
What's
with
that?
that.
What's that shit that Will Smith's wife got? I started getting alopecia with a brother.
Stop.
And then my first barber, Kevin, is the best barber I ever had. He moved, so I've been kind of in limbo.
Kev, bro. Hey, Kev messed the game up when he moved, bro.
Straight up. Hey
Kev
man, but
messed the game up.
straight up. Hey, but back to the unity thing, bro. I think we need to get off of this thing where we think unity is a good thing, bro. Like, why would I want to unify with people who are off code?
You know who?
But you want to unify with people on code, so it's unity is good when it's on code, but not good. Like,
yeah, but I'm thinking y'all were talking about like people who we don't see things eye to eye. If you don't see things eye to eye when it comes with being on code, you are dead weight when it comes to brainstorm. Because I think if you get 500 people who are all on code and we brainstorm, if you add 20 people in there who are off code and they're throwing in their ideas, it's like, again, it's like when you add people to a conversation that don't really understand it, so they're not really contributing to the conversation. So I think you should only unify with people who are able to contribute to the conversation because they're able to understand the basics. Otherwise, it's trying to teach when you should be trying to learn.
You are what corporate would call you like the cultural fit argument is how you like to frame it. Like, oh, it's just a good cultural fit.
No, it's like a think tank argument, bro. You don't get to be in a think tank if you disagree with the premise.
Yes, you do.
No, if you
that's actually part of the reason of having a think tank.
Okay,
no?
so you think you have in the Heritage Foundation, which is like a white supremacist group. Do you think they have a lot of people in there like me?
I don't know why you have to bring up a white supremacist group and then
because that's
put
an example of a
in...
think tank. That's an example of a think tank.
But is that the normal example of a think tank or an extreme example of a think tank? A rare example of a think tank?
Think tank, you want to have people who are like-minded to brainstorm together. If you
you just need a bunch of white supremacists. But like naturally, you would personally be excluded.
I'm talking about why this is in effect. This is an example, like even what you just said right now, Q, was like.
Okay, so my bad. You brought up the Heritage Foundation, and then I used the word white supremacists, and that's the example of what you're talking about. Help me understand this.
In any think tank where you're trying to brainstorm to a shared goal, you don't bring people into that locker room who are there who don't believe in the ultimate goal. You want to have people that want to strategize on how to get there, not nobody that's going to tell you how we're not going to get there.
But
you would naturally want to have people there that's going to challenge the thoughts.
I don't.
That's what a think tank would be.
I
don't think that you've like been around like productive think tanks. Like,
I think I want to be around people that, bro. Hear me out.
But I guess what I'm saying, like, hear me out as well. Like, that's a core part of a productive think tank. Is that you want to hear all opposition?
No, you're misunderstanding me. If I'm in a think tank, I want to. If there's like 10 books on a topic, you read 5 books, I read 5 books. Now we have a shared interest. Now we share ideas from other people, but I don't want nobody who read a book on the opposite to weigh in about that. I want people that are knowledgeable.
Trey, if you write a thesis or something like that, if you write a thesis, you just can't read the only research that supports your argument. You got to read
your offensive coordinator.
Hey, fellas, articles.
Hey, fellas, we got a couple backstage. Let me start bringing some of the guys up. So we do have Unc right here. Unc, so I'll toss the questions to you again. You've heard enough of the episode as well, but the episode we're talking about: do we need allies? Should Black, Brown, and other minorities band together, or should we just worry about ourselves? What's your thoughts on?
We definitely need allies, but do we have any? You know, no matter where you go in this world, you know what I'm saying, everybody wants to be us, but nobody likes us. So that's just where it comes from with me. It's like, yeah, we need allies, but who do we have that would be a good ally to us? No one likes us, but everybody loves our culture. Everything we do, everybody else, no matter where you go, you're going to find somebody in another country or anywhere, and all of them act like black people, black Americans. But don't nobody like black Americans, so we have no allies. It would be a good thing if we did, but we don't have any allies because, to be honest, all the way down to the core, no one likes black Americans. So if we can't do it for our own self, we have nobody to ally with.
Thank you.
Does it make sense what I said? Think about it.
Yeah,
No matter where you go, everybody, oh, these people over here, they act like they do. But behind closed doors, no one wants us around. They just want us, they just want to mimic us. They want to do what we do, want to act the way we act, want to dress the way we dress, want to talk the way we talk. They want our music. They want our entertainment. They want us to just be entertainment for the world.
Gotcha. And I guess the follow-up that I asked you would be, how do you see black progress happening without allies? You started off saying that we need allies, but do we have any? So I would imagine implied in that is that with black progress, you think that, or again, I'm just like implying, do you believe that there's a necessity for allies?
Yes. I do believe it.
My bad.
I believe it is a necessity for it, but who can we count on except us? Who else can we count on? And half the time we can't even accept, you know what I'm saying? Because my whole thing is, a lot of people, these people saying this or that, whether they're being extreme or whatever. I understand Trey has a passion for what he's doing and what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? That's his passion. If he believes in what he's saying, good for him. You might not believe in it, but the whole thing is this right here. Trey can't get upset at y'all for y'all not having the same passion he has, because y'all don't have the same passion he has about certain things that he don't, about things y'all have. You know what I'm saying? So him saying that, the one thing that kind of got me what he said was that when he said that he don't even want to be bothered with some of the other FBA brothers and stuff like this. And he's just making his group smaller and smaller and smaller. And I understand he don't want to be around a bunch of people but sometimes you do have to have somebody that kind of push against you to make you think in a different way, because if you just thinking it's one way, you thinking it's right, you never know if it's wrong or not if you don't have nobody telling you it's wrong. You understand what I'm saying?
But Unc, if you in the locker room and you don't buy into the program, the coach is gonna kick you out.
But you don't buy into the program, but you also have more than one coach.
But if you don't buy into the program, you have like you're not. Like,
yeah, but like even if you like let's use your locker room example. Like if you've like I've coached it, and or if you've been, I imagine y'all been a part of like different locker rooms. Leaders on the team do also have a say. So like for example, a coach might say, "Hey, point guard, we need to run XYZ." The point guard could be like, "Hey, but I'm seeing this right here, and we might need to run, let's say, zipper or something like that because of the way they're playing, like the hedge on the pick and roll or some shit like that." In which the coach might not be able to necessarily see it from the sideline, but as the point guard, he trusts in what that person says. They're allowed to disagree as long as like the idea is that it's in good faith. They're allowed to see different things and have different opinions on the same game, as long as it's in good faith. Like there's not like in any good version of whether you're talking about team, anything, government, leadership, you're supposed to listen to different and varying ideas. That's from sports to the corporate America.
I'm talking about a person in the locker room that don't even like bother to understand the playbook.
That's what I'm saying. You going to extremes to like make the case, and that's not the case. It's like
I think that's the case. That's a perfect.
Nobody on here is anti-reparations.
Y'all don't understand white supremacy, so everything else confuses you.
No, Trey.
But you see how like then you just go to like we don't understand anything.
You don't understand white supremacy, and it's okay, bro.
I know you're the master of white supremacy in its effects.
Can you give me one play out the playbook that's not that can you give me one play that's out the playbook that doesn't include reparations? And also, hold up, I got to have something on the backside of that. With
I
the
give you a lot.
reparations, how are we going to get it? I don't. It's a good thing, but no one has a playbook on how we're going to get it. Where's the playbook for it?
The thing is, there is a playbook for it, but
All
I
right,
don't
what is
think.
the play?
I mean, go listen. I can tell you some people to listen to, but man, I can give you the head. All right. To sum it up real quick. First step is to delineate, because it
Okay.
has to be lineage based. We cannot look at ourselves as some lost Africans, like we don't have no place. We have to stake our claim in America. We have what is owed to us as Black Americans. It's not owed to immigrants, no, even Black immigrants, white. It's not. We have our own specific right. We need to fight for that. The second thing, we need to take that delineation and make sure that the people that we have as our representation right now, half of the Congressional Black Caucus does not qualify for reparations. So therefore, they shouldn't even be there, because they're not going to fight for something they don't qualify for. That's why we need to delineate first. Next step is we need to replace the candidates there who are not in favor of foundational Black America and are supporting us, and we replace them with candidates who are reparations candidates and get behind them. Those are the first two steps. And then we have we need to establish some think tanks where people who are on board and understand all this. They study Claude Anderson, Neely Fuller, all these people in the past, and they're able to learn from the greats and strategize in that way and get on code together and like galvanize and like saying, like, link up. And then we also need to make sure that we are cautious about who we communicate with. That's why I think unity can be a bad thing, because that's what happened to the Black Panthers, right? They brought in people that were ops and agents and all that type of mess. So that's an example. It's not always strength in numbers. It's quality over quantity. That's another lesson that we learn. So it's like all these. There's so many things that, like, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of like discussions that we have, like productive discussions on how we get to reparations. But if you're talking to a person that said, like, we ain't never gonna get it type of deal, or if that's not what we need type of deal, then that's like grade school education, where everyone that already graduated past that stuff, now they're going to talk about, now we get it, what do we do now? And then we can't talk about what we're going to do now if we're still trying to convince people that it's even a possibility.
But it is a possibility. I believe it is a possibility for it to happen. But what my thing is this right here. As A Black was saying, everything he said is on point. It just seems like it's far fetched, but they have no reason to give it to us.
Well, that's another thing.
And it's sad. No, I'm just saying it's sad, but they have no reason. It's no initiative for them to give it to us. And the thing is, sooner or later, it has to get done. It should get done. And it's probably done by the way you're saying it. But the thing is, right now, they have no initiative to give it to us anytime soon. And it's sad to me.
Africa not finna help with none of this. Everybody.
No, I'm not.
Hey, fellas. So yeah, I do want to bring up Don P. Don P. been chilling. Kamo, he be on and off. He got his what is that? The N90 whatever mask. I'd love to know what he's up to. He's kind of been in and out. But Don P. Again, we're not specifically on right. We're not specifically on the reparations conversation. I would like to hear your opinion on, do we need allies? Black, brown, minorities, should they band together? Or should we kind of worry about ourselves? Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Trey on this one. I believe in quality over quantity at this point. And there's historical references that could prove Trey's point in terms of us always shooting ourselves in the foot by trying to ally with other groups who don't have our best interests at heart. So I don't think that's necessary for us to ally with people. I don't even think that it's a necessity at this point, as crazy as it may sound to some of you. But I feel like us as FBAs, if you look at history, when it was just us to ourselves, like, we got stuff done. You know what I mean? We always had stuff done in the past. Like, there's historical like if you're talking about politically speaking, like I'm just talking about just towns. I know everybody talk about Black Wall Street, but just Wilmington and all the towns that have been drowned and sabotaged in some type of way. Like that was us doing it off of our own backs.
We had
Now
way
we
more
have been
land. We gave the
sabotaged.
land away back then, though. We gave that land away. Like we
So it's the
ran
land.
in the Great Migration, but is that not what happened? The Great Migration. We gave up 12 million acres of land.
I won't listen. Like I won't argue. I won't argue that point, and you may be right about that. What I'm saying is, when we was by ourselves, we was able to achieve a lot more because we understood that regardless of whether we like each other or not, we was all we got, and we understood who the enemy was. You know what I mean? We understood that. So as far as
I
that
agree with
goes,
you.
like I'm just looking.
Reconstruction was
Yeah, yeah, like that's why I'm going based off of just historical points. Like, so for somebody, and not just necessarily you, just people in general, to say that reparations is never gonna happen. Like I hear people say that. Well, then I would say, well, what's the incentive for them to pass the civil rights bills? What was their incentive to do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I got the answer to it, but what was the incentive to do that?
The incentive was there was a lot of white people
Like,
that was
and
with it.
who?
There was a lot of white people that was with it at that
No,
point.
hell no,
That wasn't the incentive.
bro.
They
No,
didn't have
man,
them.
Bills have
That's
earmarks
not
on
what
them, and the
passed it.
earmarks
That's not what passed it. It didn't pass.
earmarks always.
They had
I mean, so did
bipartisan
you? So
support.
let me ask you
I'm
this.
just
Let me
asking.
ask you this, Johnny. Let me
Like,
ask
is
you
that
this.
not how it happened?
Let me
Lyndon
ask you
B.
this,
Johnson
Johnny.
it ushered it in.
Johnny, can you show me? Johnny, can you
Yeah.
show me
And I
footage
mean,
of
like
a
history
white
hasn't like
person back in the
proven
50s?
the civil rights movement outside of being like really detrimental and almost like the implementation of quote unquote the system on Black people. A lot of those policies that came out of it,
Yeah, I
most
mean,
of it, it was
listen.
like it was
Like
like pretty,
from
but
that
it
time.
almost like put us in like a longer, softer version of chains. If we want to talk about like
I would.
whether the welfare system, whether we could just start running down a lot of things that either was a promotion and beneficial to first
And it kind of lends to
white
your
women
point about
and a
allies.
bunch of other
No,
people.
Having our
Q and
back.
Johnny,
Okay.
like
It lends
Q
to
and
your
Johnny, like
point.
Q and Johnny, I wholeheartedly agree with y'all, right? Like that's my point is not what the result was, like what the result was, because we, looking back hindsight, we all seen for what it was. You know what I mean? It's it's a nothing burgers. However, what I would say is this: that's something that we fought for. You know what I mean? That was something that we fought for and that we got done. And when you say like, oh, a lot of white people was down with it, like I'm thinking to myself, I didn't see no footage of white folks getting hosed down. I didn't see no footage of white folks
They
getting
were
bit
there.
by
It was
dogs
Jewish people that
and
died.
beat up.
It was Jewish people that died. It was white
I didn't
folks
see
that
I didn't
died.
see
Ben Gay,
I
like
didn't
You
see no
that's
talking
footage of
about you
that.
talking about Mississippi burning those two white boys that came with NAACP, but the same community also created the NAACP to undermine the shit and was giving names to the FBI.
but
So
to
they
say that
play
we
both
didn't have,
sides.
but to say that we didn't
But they
have
play both
allies,
sides, bro. Like
but
they play both sides. Like you can't get some people that help you on one side and it's part of the same
those weren't the
community.
same people. Those were independent
It
people.
was
They
the
might have
same
had the same, but those were
community.
two independent people, and they were allies. Like, so you can judge a whole community, but like there were allies from that community too. They was riding in the car with the people, and they
So
died.
that
And
goes
they
along
died.
that goes along with the risk factor, Johnny. That goes along with the risk factor of, like, I don't care if you're a liberal white person or if you claim that you down. Like, I would rather risk it with a brother or sister who's from the lineage who might betray me than risk it all from somebody
Or
who
what about
can't
that versus
possibly see
Tether?
my plight.
What about a Jewish person versus Tether? Who you gonna ally with first?
Or tether.
Neither
You know what
one.
a tether
Neither.
means?
Which one? Which one? You got one
Bro,
or two
like,
options.
bro, I don't
Neither.
understand. Y'all really have this. Y'all are really pressed to make friends with people, and that's the shit that like is the most frustrating,
You
bro.
don't
Like,
think the
I had a
Jewish
long.
No,
you
yo,
don't
Work.
think the
I don't even
Jewish
think
people
like that, man. I don't have long day at work.
allies for friends. Allies don't mean
Long day at work.
friends.
Trey, how did the Jewish people get Israel in the first place?
Bankers,
Oh,
Rothschilds.
allies. Great
No,
Britain promised them the
bread,
land. It was allies.
bread, bread,
Great Britain
bread,
promised them it was allies,
bread,
bro. That's how they
bread.
got the land
It
in the
was
first
money.
place,
No, it
bro.
was
They
banking,
allies.
bro. It was
But
banking.
it's still another
That's how they
another
got
way
the
to dress
land,
up
bro.
So
the alliance.
That's how
Nah,
they got that
nah.
shit in the
The
first place.
alliance
It
might have
was
been
allies.
monetary, but
Look,
Yeah.
like they have an alliance.
Hey Johnny,
It was the Balfour Agreement. That was his name. Go look him up. He was a British dude. He wasn't fucking.
Yeah, I'm familiar. He was a Rothschild.
hey
Yeah,
Johnny,
it was
Johnny,
allies.
I want to clarify something. I want to clarify something. When you say tether, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean when you say tether?
A non FBA black person who is rocking with black people versus
That's
who
not a
is.
tether.
Okay. Oh,
That's
okay.
not a tether, brother.
Well, then Candace Owens versus Ben
Uh,
Shapiro.
uh,
Go.
Neither one, bro. They're both ops, bro.
you
Like,
said,
All right, listen, we got Kamu in an N95 mask. Talk to us, brother.
yeah. So like,
What is
that's why
your
I wanted
thoughts
to ask
on?
that, like, just so we clear on things.
You said
Yeah,
what?
no, I got it. Johnny walked himself into that. I seen Trey eyes light up, and he told Johnny he tired of describing what a tether actually is. But
Yeah, I use
Kamu, talk to us, brother.
Yeah.
I think he froze. Okay. All right. As y'all were, I guess Don P, I
Damn
think you
broadband.
yeah, I think that you was schooling Johnny on what who you would choose between Ben Shapiro, Candace
but how
Owens,
they go?
or
Real quick,
Dr. Umar.
how they gonna be allies with no
They
internet
both.
connection? That's
You
crazy.
said what, Don P?
Yeah, all right. So for me to answer the question, I would say neither or. They all are ops equally. They all equally the ops, in my opinion.
Okay.
Equally, it's a mindset. Like
But I'm saying,
tether is an action. You know what I mean? And when
art
I
of
think
war.
about
Like,
tether, like me,
but like art of war, World War II, the
oh,
British didn't get along with the Soviets, but they allied together to beat the Germans. And like it was strategic war. The British and the
you said
Bolsheviks
what?
didn't get along. The British and the Bolsheviks didn't get along. But the only way they beat the Germans was they allied together.
So let me
And that's why it got split up into East Germany and
so let
West
me
Germany.
flip it on you. Let me flip it on you. Who would you ally with? Jesse Lee Peterson or so what's another white supremacist? You said Ben Shapiro already. Jesse Lee Peterson or Dr. Phil? Who would you ally with?
You said Dr.
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 Phil.
Phil.
Oh, I'm going. Give me Dr. Phil. Like,
Dr.
He
Phil.
said Dr. Phil. Where
yeah.
did this nigga Dr. Phil
You're ally
come
with Dr.
from?
Phil.
Dr. Phil, cool. Like,
What about the guy who used to own the Clippers, but he had to sell the team? That white supremacist.
Donald Sterling.
Yeah,
Him or who? Who you pairing him
him
with?
or
Donald
Peterson.
Sterling.
Jesse Lee
Would you ally with Donald Sterling?
the Donald Sterling over. I might go Donald Sterling over Jesse Peterson.
Why? Because he like black females?
Well, no, he got billions. Like, I mean, the impact gonna be.
Oh, the power. That's what you're going with.
Yeah, the power
Damn.
gonna hit a little different.
All right. Well,
And for
fellas,
the people-
go ahead.
I don't know,
all right.
man.
For the people, I think we
No,
want the power.
I chose Dr. Phil. He got some anti-black sentiments too. He just liberal with it. I think the liberal white folks is the most dangerous. I'd rather have somebody who's honest with it,
Yeah,
who's open with it.
I mean, yeah, you might be right. Dr. Phil through me.
Yeah, I gotta watch the. Well, I'm just an active observer of this Trump term, and then I'll let you know how I feel about that upfront racism or that liberal racism. My dog Trump, my dog Trump coming in fire, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just interested to see where all the all the smoke kind of lands at per se. But
hey, yo, QQ, man, real quick. I know you about to close it out, bro, but real quick. So sometimes when you're talking about like, if you're talking hip hop with somebody who's a hip hop head, and you're going to be able to have a more productive conversation than if you bring in a person that don't really know much about hip hop, right? They're going to put you on
Problem, yeah.
information. That's an example of what I'm talking about, where it's not strength in numbers. I only want to have people like if Don P and I were discussing, like we're on the same page. Like I don't know Don P, but we're on the same page with so much. He's giving me, he's saying good ideas I wish I thought of, and then I'm saying good ideas he agreed with in the chat. So I'm saying, if you're trying to get a difficult task, which reparations, I think sometimes you need to call ISO and just have the people who
for sure. But then if we just stay with that exact same example that you're talking about, right? And anybody that like raps and makes music probably can kind of like co-sign this right here. Where the thing about it is that, like, especially if you get into like the realm of like hip hop heads, and then like you going like this guy's like love rap and lyricists XYZ. Sometimes if you just go in the studio with them, they can make really good raps, but they need an outside perspective of like, damn, is this a hit? Is this actually good? Is this consumable for the masses? Because of, you can be so tunnel vision inside what you think that you don't understand what actually what the outside perspective or POV is, and that's on that's the music. But if then you just frame that back into what you're talking about, an outside perspective or POV to me would still be needed. I'm not saying that like specifically this would be that, or like, you know what I mean? Like it would need to be somebody that's anti-reparation inside whatever version of a think tank you're talking about. But having healthy pushback in a dialogue to me is healthy. So no different than like, again, name what's cannabis. Like Cannabis could rap his ass off, but that nigga was not about to make a top 20 hit.
Bro, I can make that.
You wouldn't go to him for that. But he's a hip hop head lyricist that can dissect every piece of why a bar is fire and give you lyrical lyricism theory. But an outside person might need to come to him and be like, hey, they ain't trying to listen to that on Hot 97.
And you could be a hip hop head and fuck with MF Doom and Tech Nine.
And yeah, that's also true.
And it's like
they kind of be having bad taste.
It's like, but I can't even say it's bad taste. It's just like not my taste. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they like because like my thing is like this is where I would argue against bad taste is like when it comes to art. If there's a clear audience for it, but I'm not a part of that audience, I can't say that all those people got bad. Like, I'm not a big Tyler the Creator fan, but I respect what he does as an artist. Not my tribe, not my. I don't got him in my rotation, but like I can hear it and I can say, you know what? There's skill there. There's thought.
Yeah, there's something to it.
Yeah, I can rock with that. But see, this is what I'm saying should happen. I think the people who know Pro Tools, the people that know all the hip hop, all that stuff, they need to get into a room and come up with the hits. And once the hits come out, then I think the masses are probably going to be more like, oh, okay, like now we rock with it. But I think while we're trying to come up with the hits, I don't think you really want nobody in the room that's trying to be like, oh, nah, I think we need to add some banjo here or some, because that's almost like the contribution. Like that's how much.
But in the studio, you bring in objecting.
No, but I just want people.
But you bring in objective ears.
Hip hop evolved. Is you always bring in somebody
Dr. in the room.
That's unconventional.
I want
like you always need objective ears.
Hitting on the nail. You say gatekeeping.
It's gatekeeping, but like at the end of the day though, with if you have certain gatekeepers, we don't have the icons we know in hip hop. Like at the end of the day, like especially like you start talking about sounds and things like that. Like RZA wasn't mainstream. Havoc, Mobb Deep wasn't like when you start talking about like breakthrough sounds, these things break through from people who typically like have their own thing that cuts against the grain of the mainstream. It's not because it sounds like everybody else, it's because they bring something distinct and unique to the art that you haven't heard before. So it's like when you start talking about we only need the greats, it's like, yeah, Timbaland is dope and Pharrell is dope, but at the same time, that shit gets old. I don't want to just keep listening to Pharrell beats. I don't want to keep listening to Timbo beats. It's like Jay-Z is one of my favorite artists and Timbaland's one of my favorite producers, but it's like I don't need to listen to a whole playlist of Jay-Z and Timbaland tracks. Like I'd rather have some Just Blaze joints, some No ID joints, some Bink joints. Like I'd rather hear him on some other producers really over
3-8.
Timbaland. Like, but I understand the mainstream. So it's like it's you need everything. You don't want to just have things subjected to
Bro,
this select group of quote unquote
bro.
gatekeepers.
I get what you're saying, but if you were trying to start a production company and you had to pick any producer you could have, you would pick from those people who you know understand the like hip hop and beats and all the other stuff as your if you could only pick those, you wouldn't like replace Just Blaze with somebody just to add another perspective just because you want a fresh perspective when you could have Just Blaze if you want to. So I'm saying if you want a sure, safe shot, you give the ball to the people who seem like they are the performers.
But there is no such thing as a sure safe shot. That's my point.
I think you're misunderstanding. But at the same time, there's a person.
These same producers have like duds.
But
they
it's
don't
like,
slap. Like,
but you don't have a person that's a safe shot, but you do have a person where you're comfortable if they miss it versus you're comfortable if another person misses a shot. This is a person you want to take that shot.
Hey fellas,
Yeah,
I think that we're gonna finish this one on the after show. But nonetheless, this has been a great episode. Great conversation. Again, we've veered into a lot of unintentional FBA reparation conversations, but I think it was all based on the fruit of if it's necessary and or important to have allies and have allies help us work towards an overall goal of Black freedom, liberation, and power. And I think that the panel was pretty split on specifically that idea, but I think the conversation has been fruitful. At the top, we got G-ish. Make sure you check them out. G-ish podcast, new episode dropping soon. FBA Trey, catch him in South End. Catch him coding on GitHub.
The local coffee shop. Yeah,
at the local coffee shop. Catch him in these FBA streets, advocating for reparations for sure. We have Johnny P. Himself, the host of the To Be Fair show. Catch him Sunday 4:30 on the To Be Fair show. And favorites, Unk then tapped out. Kamu, he had the N95 mask on, but he ain't say too much. But we do have Don P still up here, one of our favorites. Again, another FBA legend. Enjoy the conversation and the commentary. A Black. Again, we seen him go from his black and bougie car to the house, to the crib. He ate a little food with us while giving us a great DEI rant. And you know what I mean, just good perspective. Him and Trey are my favorite Pan-African versus FBA duo. But nonetheless, this has been the To Be Fair show and the G-ish podcast presenting Unpacked. And like that, we out. Peace.